Hello, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and everyone in between. It's the day you've all been waiting for. It's finally here. It's the first episode of Longtime Watcher, First Time Rider, a Kamen Rider podcast where myself, a veteran of the Kamen Rider series, King Fats the 95th, is joined by my free newbie friends, Action Shakespeare.
Hello.
B Drops.
Hello.
And the Magical Whale Gopher.
Hello.
And I get to take them through the wild and wonderful world that is this crazy, crazy show. And, boy, wild and wonderful really is the best way to describe it, especially because this wonderful group of folks, they decided if they were going to start hardcore, they were going to start OG. And so we have started with the very first Kamen Rider Season 2 Exist Kamen Rider from 1971, and boys, girls, everyone, it's been a doozy. So I really think there's nothing left to do but just go into it. What do you guys think?
Yeah. It's a lot.
It's a lot. So buckle your seatbelts as we start with the very first episode of the very first Kamen Rider. And it is called The Eerie Spider-Man, Kamen Rider Season 1, Episode 1. It starts when Takashi Hongo practices for an important race with his mentor, Tobei Tachibana. Spider-Man, not the Marvel one, is watching from the sidelines looking for a chance to catch his assigned target. In the middle of practice, Takeshi is ambushed by Shocker grunts and kidnapped for cyborg conversion. What a sentence. It's cyborg conversion.
Oh my god.
While the physical modulation is successful, he is saved by Professor Midorikawa before the brainwashing began. If people have notes about this particular part, this is actually the one part I wrote a note down about, which I do feel kind of bad about, but it is the one part.
I have a few things.
Okay. I will go
section.
ahead and start with mine, because I think everyone else might have also had this thought, but like I said, it was the only note I wrote down. The guy, the like doctor who kidnaps Hongo is talking about how he has been given the power of wind, and then he's like, "We're gonna shoot like 50,000 electricity volts through your body, and normally that would burn a man alive, but you've got wind powers, so you're gonna be cool." How does wind power prevent him from getting burned?
Oh my god, yeah, I had a note on that too. It literally reads, wind, ? Grants electricity immunity, ? times 3.
It makes literally no sense.
See, the thing, like, I could buy that he is resistant because, like, you know, his cybernetics, which is a stretch, but still,
But no, they explicitly call out that it is the wind power that makes him immune to burning.
They explicitly call him a cyborg, which means he's still got skin.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes.
Still definitely got dude
And
skin.
beautiful hair and
He's
eyebrows.
very handsome.
Oh yeah, real handsome.
His hair didn't burn.
Oh god, yeah, you're right.
Not a scratch.
Not
No,
a
it's
scratch.
perfect hair.
That's
It's
the
perfect
power.
cyborg hair.
Yeah, that's the power of perfect cyborg hair.
The power of wind.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Wind
the
in your
power
hair.
of- yeah, the
See-
wind in your hair.
So I need to dial it back a little because
Okay, yes, please.
I apparently just took a bunch of stupid random notes of everything leading up to that point.
Same.
I appreciate that.
My first one is basically the first shot of the entire series is the multi-angle bike shots to depict
Yes!
speed
Yes.
and how we just flipped the camera every angle
Oh,
and then
yeah.
kept cutting to the same shot to denote that he was going extremely fast.
Extremely fast.
So good.
Just like,
Fastest motorcycle rider alive, Takeshi Hongo. Action
Yeah.
extreme sports. It's oh my god, it's shot like a 90s Capri Sun commercial.
A little bit.
Like, all it's missing is some tubular music and a mom who wants to feed her hungry guys.
Maybe some jet noises.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Just wonderful right off the bat. Showed a lot of
It's-
promise. The Spider-Man, has a crew that we see, but I think we see the Spider-Man first, but we definitely see his crew more.
Oh yeah.
as they also just join in on motorbikes, like they just sort of drove up from behind and like were harassing him like a gang and not like a supervillain group. To which
They
he
really
did.
do just like roll up on him like, oh, what's up? We're the rival gang in town. We're gonna run you off the road, kid. Give us your lunch money.
Just
And we got our
laughing
two
so
separate
menacingly.
squads. We got two separate squads. We got the dudes. We got the ladies. Everybody is here.
Shocker is an equal opportunity employer, which is
They really
weird
are.
to say because they're just straight up also Nazis.
Yeah, a little bit.
So almost equal opportunity.
We'll get to
Obviously,
there.
There's a specific sect of people that they might not hire for reasons.
But yeah, they just harass him for a little bit and then they just leave. And he's the one who follows them.
He follows them. He gets
Into their
harassed by some dudes and is like, I'm going to go figure out what that was. Try to haze me, will you? Not when my hair is this perfect.
I listen, I super respect that. If there's something I appreciate in any character whatsoever, it is going full tilt, ready to attack you to the death at like the drop of a hat. I love it. I love it. He was ready to destroy
that really
them.
describes Takeshi Hongo, huh?
Little
That
bit.
man
Oh, we
is
will get to that,
ready
won't
and
we?
willing to kill. And we will get to that.
Yeah. No, go ahead.
Oh yeah, go for any. Did you have any particular notes about this section of the episode?
I don't think it was just this. Oh yeah, for a second I thought like they weren't even a rival gang. I thought because of how they rolled up, I thought like, oh yeah, they're his buddies. But no, they're just Nazis.
No, they were underwater fascists the whole time.
Which is a sentence I didn't think I'd ever have to say, but
Well, you know, it was the 70s in Japan, so we had to make certain things clear to
Yeah.
certain demographics.
Very, very
Speaking
clear.
of making things clear, we kind of go pretty head first into him getting kidnapped.
Yeah.
But they do take a little breather to explain our evil group, the Shocker. I mean, Shocker,
Yeah.
not Spider-Man's Shocker.
Yeah, not Spider. That's a different season of this podcast.
No, these guys are trying to put on a real showstopper.
Terrible. I can't believe you would say that on this podcast. This is family friendly.
I don't know
How
what you're talking. What? I'm just using some turns of phrase, you know.
You're bad.
But
Dad.
but they they do like the expositional aside. They
just give you a quick. Also, by the way, here's the rundown on Shocker.
And it's so great. I think I've actually seen future clips of Kamen Rider. Like, I think this just becomes an established like genre trope, and I think this might just be where it started, where they just stop everything and go, "Let me explain."
Yeah, it is definitely, at least for some of the older, like the 70s, late 70s, early 80s series, it's definitely a thing, and I would not at all be surprised if this is where it's established. What's extra interesting for me is, as someone who has watched some of the newer stuff, seeing Shocker in its original context back when they were still definitely just straight up Nazis. Because since they were like the bad guy of the very first season of a now very long running, very successful show, they've obviously come back a couple of times, and they've had to like try and remove them from their Nazi origins.
Gotta update that
Why?
a little bit.
Yeah, it's real weird seeing a bunch of dudes in Shocker outfits still Sieg Heiling before they go to attack the Kamen Rider, but don't worry guys, they're definitely not Nazis. Wink. It's strange.
that's a sentence.
While these guys are Nazis, I will have to say, if you have not watched the episode we're talking about, their base and aesthetic is an evil mod club. They wear berets, and they have funky
Skin-tight
psychedelic skin-tight suits and face paint.
Psychedelic face paint. They really are just a bunch of dudes who took mushrooms in the 60s and built a clubhouse and was like, we're gonna make cyborgs, man. It's gonna be a good time, brother. And their ceilings are made out of bubble wrap.
The bubble wrap ceiling.
I love the bubble wrap ceiling so much.
So good.
Oh,
Yeah, so
man.
that's the bubble wrap.
That was also a point that I really enjoyed is the fact that because they didn't have the effects budget for anything ever, or anything other, I should say, they have to show that things are happening to our protagonist when he's strapped to that like operating table by just like shining lights underneath him, and then he has to do acting at it.
That's why he gets paid the big bucks.
It's why he's Sega to Sanshiro in the future. It's why he's still doing this Takeshi Hongo gig like 30, 40 plus years into the future.
Oh,
wow,
I'm so
on
glad.
that grind, I respect it.
It really is. It's I love you, Takeshi Hongo. Unironically. You are a good dude and a handsome lad back in the 70s.
But not now.
I mean, no. He's still handsome now. He's definitely got that like older guy vibe.
In an old guy way, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Foxy grandpa.
Exactly. He's got a
Foxy
little bit
Grandpa
of a
Takeshi
paunchy
Hongo.
dad bod, but we appreciate that.
We respect that here.
Yeah, we respect that here.
Well, I guess I think that's all I got before going forward. Do we want to go over his evil plan? Or Shocker's evil plan, rather?
Oh yes, Shocker's evil plan. So if you don't know, Shocker, and this is canon to the series. You can watch the series and you can learn this. Shocker is a former Nazi sect that then branched off after World War II to try and take over the world of their own means. And the way they intend to do that is they are just kidnapping people and turning them into, I guess, bug person cyborgs, except for the fact that a bunch of them super aren't bugs.
Mm-mm.
Like the second episode's antagonist isn't a bug.
Bats
telling me
aren't
bats aren't
bugs?
Yeah, I know, Calvin. It's really surprising, but bats are not bugs. So yeah,
How are we shocked?
They're kidnapping people and they're turning them into cyborgs. And like the main leader of Shocker's plan is that like cyborgs are going to rule the world, and he's going to rule all of the cyborgs, which is, I mean, it just seems like it's begging for failure, right?
Maybe a little. I find it really interesting though. Like, I did not expect this to be Kamen Rider's origin. This is me coming in first time now. This is the nice surprise I got. I didn't expect it just to be completely hinged on the group he is fighting to be his origin story.
Yeah, I will say that
Also
is
true,
a
yeah.
neat little bonus. That is something that I did know just from, being a longtime fan. And not every season is like that, but there are a couple of seasons that are like that. Or if the season isn't exactly like that, like the power that the Kamen Rider is using and the power that the bad guy are using is the same. And I think those are some of the more interesting seasons. Because it gives you this real dichotomy of like, wow, this power really can be used for good or for evil.
Like jumping really high and kicking.
Yeah. And poison Rondas onto a rock. But again, we'll get to that. That I think we'll get to that is going to be a sentence that is said a lot during this podcast.
It's hard not to get
Yeah.
ahead of yourself with the shit we
It's
see.
really hard not to get ahead of yourself with this show. Okay, well, I feel like that is all of the notes that people had for the first section of the episode, which brings us to the mundane section of the episode, as it were, according to the plot synopsis. Meanwhile, Professor Midorikawa's daughter, Ruriko, I'm gonna have trouble with that, feels the presence of a stalker, not a shocker, but a stalker.
Did we go over his escape? I realize I might have cut you off too soon before.
Oh yeah, so I guess in the plot
Important
synopsis
character.
does mention that he is saved by Professor Midorikawa, but we do not specify that he escapes by jumping out. Well, he jumps out of the roof because he can just do that now because he's a cyborg man, and then he gets on his cool new motorcycle that I think he just stole. Because I don't know if you guys noticed, but it does just have the Shocker symbol on it.
Yeah. I didn't
So
really
I-
want to question it because it seemed rather integral to his transformation sequence, but they never really touched on that whatsoever, so I'm just assuming his 600 IQ mega juicy brain could recognize the inherent power behind this technology and decided to just claim it for himself.
Yeah, he definitely just kind of rolled up and 5-finger discounted a bike. from these Nazis, which like I'm not against, but they don't explain it at all.
It's the super bike.
Yeah, it's a super bike. What do you need to know? It's a super bike.
Also, they required this person to have 600 IQ, which is
Yes, that was a requirement for him to. They needed someone with superior physical ability and a 600 IQ minimum, which is like shit, man.
Entry level position.
Yeah, right.
I was not able to mention it, but at the beginning, our good friend Tachibana does go on a little bit of a slight tangent, just introducing
to
Hongo to the audience. I wrote down the summary of that introduction as perfect at first glance. Hongo, wow.
Yeah, that's basically it. Alongside being, here's actually the thing I don't get. They're like, you can tell he's super good at sports. Look how good him ride the motorcycle. How does that explain that he's good at sports?
He's just a physical specimen.
Yeah, apparently he's just a physical specimen. And when he's not being Himbo Supreme, he's over at Junan College being a biochemist.
The lead biochemist student. He's just evolved beyond us even before being like covertly converted into a cyborg by Nazis.
Yeah. As if he wasn't perfect enough already, let's give him cyborg powers.
It's like if someone took Beowulf's archetype and then just made him a cyborg.
Yeah. He's cyborg Beowulf.
Yeah, now him jump real good though.
Yeah, now him jump real good.
He's really good.
He's gonna make those long jump records. It's gonna be great.
Yeah, he's gonna cheat at the Olympics, and everyone's gonna find out.
Oh man!
And he's gonna blame Germany, and that's gonna be a whole thing.
Oh no!
So yeah, I mean, so he jumps out of the roof. He steals a bike. They go on a bike ride with Professor Midorikawa. Was there like that's our first fight sequence, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Where he appears as Kamen Rider on top of a hill like half a mile away.
Yeah.
Somehow.
I adore the fight sequences in this series so far, especially as someone who has been watching this show for a while. The cinematography, outstanding.
It hasn't even gotten too crazy at the first episode.
Really hasn't. But,
I just think now would be a good time to really just point out the music, or not the music, but the sound effects.
Yes,
sound effects.
Just they're so good.
They're so good.
I love the stock like bouncing sound they had when someone was like flipped over.
The window crash, because they got a lot of usage. They got a lot of mileage out of that window crash sound effect, and it was perfect every time.
I love the noises that the mooks make, but I'm sure we're going to get to that later when we have more to discuss with that.
The enemy coded noises.
Yes. Oh my god.
Perfect. Just perfect in every way.
Go
ahead.
Sorry. I made sure to write it down. Between the fight and the mundane part is the first time we see the lovely eye catchers for this show. They are beautiful painted illustrations.
Eye catchers. Oh my god.
I wrote it down as colored pencil insert.
Yeah, I wrote painting / color pencil drawings. They're very, very, very good. I love them.
They're super rad, and I think they are the coolest thing ever, and I love that they did like hand-drawn inserts like that, but also they look like they rolled up on the guy who created Kamen Rider and was like, dude, we need an entire season's worth of inserts in like 5 minutes. We're airing the episode in like 45 seconds. You gotta go.
The camera is right here. We are going to zoom in on it. Just put it on some fucking garbage bags. Just paint it on a grocery bag.
We need one like now. We're just gonna have to use the same one.
Like that first episode one. That first episode one is so bad because it's like it's a good drawing, but it is a physical object that they put a camera on and had to dolly in on it. Like everything after that, they actually created a graphic.
The worst part too is that it's such an awkward cut. It just happens.
It's so good.
There's no music sting. There's no like line for you to hang on. There's no cliffhanger. They're just like, it's Kamen Rider. All right, back to more Kamen Rider.
I remember feeling it was so abrupt, and that's why I had to make a note of where it appeared.
So jarring.
Because there's no like natural like suspense or build up. Like you don't feel like there would be a commercial break. It's just like the scene ends like 3 seconds faster than you'd expect it to, and suddenly you're face to face with this glaring red illustration. It's amazing.
It's like if you were watching a play, and in order to do a scene transition, instead of closing the curtains, they just had someone in the audience stick something in front of your face for 25 seconds, and then they moved it, and they were like, all right, now back to the play. It's outstanding.
It's so good. I love them so much.
They're very good. I think that is a good segue into our mundane section, kind of the leading up to the back half of the episode. So
we're only halfway through the episode. My God.
Yeah, the better half of the episode, if you ask me. So per the plot synopsis. Meanwhile,
happens.
Professor Midorikawa's daughter Rurikyo feels the presence of a stalker. She goes with a friend to Cafe Amigo, but before they can go, their boss tells Rurikyo that her father has been found. Rurikyo asks her friend to switch clothes with her, then borrows Tachiban's car to find her father. I have a fucking objection. They don't show us her asking her friend to switch clothes with her ever.
I did not realize that was their plan.
That plot point until
it makes sense in
retrospect. Yeah, like it makes sense in retrospect, but you don't see that scene. It's just you think you see her be dropped off with her boss at the cafe. The car drives itself away because you're like, that dude was just driving the car 45 seconds ago. They walk in, they get attacked by Shocker. Surprise, it's not the right girl. And then we find out, Rurikyo was the one who was driving the car. She's going to see her dad. But they don't actually explain that happened. So why is it in the plot synopsis?
They really expect you to read between the lines a little bit.
They do, and I appreciate that. I recognize that they were like, there's important shit we need to lay out, and then there's other stuff that you can just figure out.
You have to have a high 600 level IQ to understand Kamen Rider.
You have to have a high IQ to understand Kamen Rider and its humor.
I have a few notes from just this section.
That's fair.
I started off with, who is watching these girls through a cardboard box? The scene wherein you first see Ruriko and her friends on campus, and Ruriko's like, I feel like someone's been watching me for like the past 2 days, and like half the screen is obscured by something.
Well, I guess it's a wall apparently, because
but
they show you that it's some. I will give them credit where credit is due for that. It wasn't just like bad camera work. They actually explained, it's like, oh, you were looking through the perspective of a Shocker agent who has actually been stalking her. So
it is definitely true. The way it was obscured does not immediately imply to me the view of the stalker. I guess I didn't immediately feel like, this is someone looking through a visor. This is someone looking from around a wall. It's just like the bottom
it definitely
right.
looks like someone put a goddamn cardboard box on the camera lens. Move the box.
It's not sitting there right. Please.
Maybe it's saying more about the stuff I watch. But I instantly recognized it. I'm like, someone's looking at them. Yeah.
I will say that I kind of did understand the language a little.
I understood that was the perspective of the stalker. I just couldn't really understand what apparatus was obscuring their vision. It just looked really bizarre to me.
Yeah, it's definitely a little, because it's like a little loose too, and you can like see some light coming in from the part of the screen that is supposed to be obscured. So it really kind of feels like someone just like legit like cut out a piece of cardboard and just like covered half the camera lens with it, and they were like, that's what it's gonna have to do because it's 1971 and we have a $500 budget to make a TV show with. We got to do what we can.
We spent it on his hair.
Yeah, we spent half of it on the hair.
Absolutely.
And the other half on the motorcycle.
Money well spent.
Absolutely.
I, for whatever reason, because it extremely amused me, made a note of when Tachibana rolls up in his car, pulls off his glasses, squints,
Squints
and
at
says, "Yo."
Yo.
I also made a note of this because I called it B Drops' cool greeting.
Yeah, when we were watching, I just had to make a stupid joke, and I was like, that is also how I greet pretty ladies, except I don't have sunglasses or a car. I would just take off my actual glasses and squint and say, "Yo."
Yo. I also like that that scene is preceded by a shocker agent saying "move in" on the girls, and then what looks like 4 regular Yakuza dudes show up. Like, I guess they were trying to be incognito in some form, but I feel like they chose the worst possible costume because they just look like criminals still.
It's so good.
We're incognito for other criminals.
Yeah.
It's a different crime.
We
They won't
disguised
investigate
ourselves
this
as
one.
a different crime group, boss.
They don't look like
nothing.
they look like super villain Nazis at least, so I guess that's a step
yeah,
up.
they didn't have the colored faces, so
We just
step
assumed
up.
this was normal crime and we didn't investigate it because we're
Yeah.
scared of the Yakuza.
Look, I've got to pay Yakuza dues. I don't investigate these sort of crimes.
Yeah, it's the 70s. Jeez,
Yeah, it's the
dangerous out
70s. You
here.
can do what you want. Everybody's smoking,
Truly.
especially the babies.
Especially the babies.
Cars look like they're gonna come from the 80s, but it's the 70s. It's a wild time, and everything's plaid.
Oh, I don't know why. I just thought it was so amusing. We just commenting on the very last part of the synopsis when you said Doriko took the car to go see her dad,
Mhm.
and we pan back in the car to see that enormous tracker
Yes,
spider
the
with
big
blinking
spider.
eyes.
Oh yes.
The thing's like the size of a baseball.
It's so big. It's like, how did she not notice?
It's on the back, like, windshield. It's not even like on top of the car.
Yeah, it's on like the back window.
It's hanging.
Wait.
It's hanging like one of those Garfields. That's what I was saying.
Yeah, it's
Okay, that's actually better than I thought. I thought it was on just like the passenger seat window.
that
Oh
would
my
have been even
gosh.
worse.
So,
That's
hey,
been so
how you
good.
doing?
Hey, how you doing? Can you take me to 5th and 49th Street?
Yeah, you got it.
You got $25
Oh
to
my
make some
God.
crazy spider cash. Yeah.
Can I buy a replica of one of those things?
You can make one, Gopher. I've seen your skills.
Probably you could
You
probably make a
absolutely
better
could
one
make
than they
that,
did.
Yeah.
I'll take some cardboard,
Little
put some
felt.
paint on it, and then we're done.
Yeah, exactly.
Pretty close, yeah.
So yeah, Car Spider gives us a good transition into the next part of the synopsis here. Rurikyo excitedly mentions her father's hideout. Oh wait. Rurikyo excitedly mentions her father's hideout along the way there. Unknown to her, a tracking device is attached to the car, allowing Shocker's Inhumanoid Spider-Man to find Professor Midorikawa. The next part of the synopsis is just what we talked about. So I guess we will go to the next part of the synopsis where we really start ramping up the action, as it were. The professor nervously awaits his daughter at a warehouse with Takeshi, who tries to calm him down. Rurikyo overhears a conversation between the two, but mistakes it for a heated argument. Whilst Takeshi isn't looking, Spider-Man kills the professor, and before Takeshi can save him, Rurikyo arrives and mistakes him for her father's killer. Spider-Man then attacks Takeshi with a poison dart, but it goes instead to the professor, who dissolves in his daughter's full view. I shouldn't be laughing, but God, what a sentence.
It's
incredible.
wild. There's a
It's
lot
so
happening in this
wild.
scene alone.
There's so much that happens. Yeah, we get a little bit of that transhumanism
Yeah.
introspection.
Oh man, that was the
Oh.
craziest shit I ever expected from Kamen Rider.
Right,
Like
episode 1, too.
Episode
they're just
1.
chilling, and he just starts
15
going
minutes
into
in.
the angst about how he isn't human anymore, and is like, can
I'll
I
never be a
experience?
man.
Can I have a human experience?
I never asked
It's
for this.
immediately
Yeah.
following
He
him.
goes full cyberpunk on us.
It's so good. It's just immediately following him mistakenly breaking a faucet handle. He's like,
Yeah,
oh,
or something.
am I human?
I'm a monster.
I'm too strong now. How
I'm
will
never
I ever
gonna get
hold
sippies
my
again.
child?
My notes read, remember Lefty Lucy for that part.
Oh,
Uh,
and
That was
and I
incredible.
guess we get. I think Was it? Wait, what was the scientist man? I keep forgetting. I have him in my notes as scientist man. Midorikawa.
Yeah.
I think he drops that he is the one who set Hongo up for the transformation.
Yeah. So this is not super well explained within the episode, but it's explained well enough for it to be a plot point. Apparently, Midorikawa was working with Shocker, and he is the one who recommends our friend Takashi Hongo to be a Shocker experiment.
He was an inside agent.
Yeah, he was like an inside agent, and then he was like, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to help Shocker take over the world, and so his like first act of attempted redemption is breaking Takeshi out of like, you know, the experiment.
And after this scene of angst and shocking reveals of betrayal, he gets wrapped up in saran wrap and lint.
And
it's starting to get choked by
effectively
it.
murders her father by preventing the guy who was trying to save her father from being able to do his job. Because she definitely just rolls up and is like, "You're choking my dad, stop killing him." And he's like, "No, I'm not." And she was like, "I heard you. I saw you two have an argument. I totally know what's happening despite having no context for anything."
As he's just like absolutely burritoed up in all of this saran wrap.
Yep.
Like she's just so obtuse in this situation.
And selling the fact that he is getting choked out like a king. The man was like Dolph Ziggler in the ring. It was
he went limp, man. Like that dude just
he really went for it.
I would have believed it.
Yeah.
And then he gets turned into goo.
Yeah.
Yes, we get the first prolific view of the reversed foam.
Yeah, the reverse foam. It's, oh man, this is a kid's show from 1971, and we see a dude get dissolved to the skeleton until he is literally nothing left.
He's just bubbling foam. This is
wild.
It's also the first appearance of my new favorite character of the show, which is the special effects plywood, which is a piece of plywood that they use for every special effect that is similar to this, where somebody melts or something.
Yep.
They just cut to a piece of plywood that they did the effect on. It's usually something spilling in reverse.
Yep. Yeah, it is usually like they've got like a tube or something coming out from the bottom of the plywood. They pipe something out of it, and then they play that footage backwards.
There is no effort to hide that it is just a piece of plywood underneath, no matter what the setting is supposed to be around the person getting melted.
We got to make a 98-episode TV show on $500, and we spent all of it on hair and motorcycles.
And this plywood.
This plywood. And the most amazing plywood on the planet.
I think my favorite part about the bubbling and foam is how it reminds me so much of like the foam sealant.
Oh yeah,
right.
I see. It's like he gets flex sealed to death. That's a lot of damage.
Slap it on there.
Just slap it right on. Yep. Yeah.
Oh yes.
Oh yeah. It's the goop from Prey.
Foam sealant.
He just gets gooped to death. And that's the other thing I appreciate. We'll get into this more at the last part of the synopsis here, but it specifies that we watch the professor gets disintegrated in full view of the daughter, and then they go outside, and the daughter is immediately like, "You killed my dad." Like, hello?
You're responsible for this, obviously. To her credit, I guess at this point, as far as she can tell, Kamen Rider is just another one of these crazy assholes.
I guess that's fair, but
because you got this weird bug man, and then you got this other weird bug man, and who's to say they aren't working together to kill her
But here's
dad?
the thing: is she doesn't even know he's a weird bug man at this point. He's literally just a dude.
A dude who goes to her school.
Yeah,
he's a dude who goes to her school, and her boss and her dad know him. And then
sold him out to the Spider-Man.
He has a heated he doesn't even have a heated argument. It's just him being like,
kind of handled
"Doctor,
it pretty
will
calmly.
I ever be human again?" And the doctor's like, "I'm so sorry, I've done this to you, my boy."
No,
he's like, "Man, that's messed up, but like, you saved me."
Yeah, you saved me.
Oh no, you're having an argument. Oh, you're dead.
You killed my dad. I'm pretty sure whatever turned your dad into goo killed your dad, ma'am. It definitely wasn't me. I don't have any goo emitters.
not yet.
Yeah. I have things
he
to
gets
say
letters.
about
Oh,
Ruriko, but
same.
I will hold them for now.
That is fair.
I will hold them until
Yes.
the third episode.
Yeah, we have 3 episodes to go through, and Rukio takes an arc, doesn't she?
A little bit, yes.
Kinda.
So here we go with the last part of the synopsis. Probably the best part of the episode, if we're really being honest. As his cover has been blown, Spider-Man attacks the duo head-on and adopts Rurikyo. Spider-Man uses her as bait to make Takeshi follow him. Takeshi then transforms into Kamen Rider and defeats Spider-Man in his grunts. He later contacts Tachibana so he can take Rurikyo home, as he cannot face her due to the misunderstanding involved in her father's death. That's an interesting last line. We're going to unpack that in a bit. But this is where we get our first full-fledged in-suit Kamen Rider fight scene. Oh baby, these Nazi fight tactics against these cyborg bugmen.
I did
Here's
have
what
one.
You're gonna do. You're gonna summon your weapons. You're gonna circle them. You're gonna circle them the other way. You're gonna circle them the other way. I need you to spin around this man until he gets like equilibrium lost. I don't want him to know what continent he's in. He's gonna be spinning so much.
I did make sure to note my extreme pity towards the 2 mooks in the front center. All of the rest of them got these awesome long stabs,
Oh,
and
yeah.
I think they got little knives or something.
The red ones get like daggers.
Yeah, like these are like the new. I don't want to call them
new guys.
recruits. I don't like cyborg conversions.
Well, you would want to think if they're the red ones, you thinking those are like commandos or something, right? They seem like
they're so
up,
good
'cause
they
all the
don't
other-
need the big stick.
Yeah, I guess that's what it is, because all of the other mooks are in the black, right?
I guess so.
And there's usually only like 1 or 2 red mooks per group, so you got to think he's like the leader. But
Yeah,
yeah,
so
he's
it's like
just like, hey, look, I know you have to murder a cyborg bugman with the power of wind. We're giving you a dagger for that.
Yeah,
You
I don't
got
know.
it,
The poor interns or something. I don't know what their deal is. I
Go
just
earn
felt
that
very
promotion,
bad.
bud.
So this is where we really get into the bread and butter of Kamen Rider's fight scene techniques.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
To which I only wrote down one phrase for this fight scene, and that was Lil Rascal fight tactics, because they just go
Yes.
into fast motion like the Little Rascals,
Yep.
and just zipping around him and just doing everything. But we also get like the thing where they decide to just take the camera and just do whatever they want with
They
it for a
really
while.
do.
It's so good.
They're just like any angle that we can possibly come with to make this dynamic. We need kids to pay attention, and we don't
Yeah.
have the luxury of animation.
To be honest, I think the camera work overall, outside of like kind of the confusing frame within a frame of somebody stalking Ruriko,
Yeah.
I think they actually have a pretty good grasp with cinematography. And
They really
even
do,
cinematography
yeah.
in motion, like when he's like riding away on his motorcycle sometimes. Like, it's all right. And,
Yeah, there are honestly
and they
some
get
real quality
wild with
shots.
it.
Yeah, they have a lot of fun
They
with
just
it.
Yeah, they just go nuts when a fight scene happens.
Yeah, they're just like, what even is cinematography? This is Karate Bugman. Do whatever you want.
It's a good separation. It's you have the grounded drama, and then you have the outrageous fight scene, and the camera speaks to that immediately.
Yeah, I will say there is a very recurring theme, and we don't see it as much as in the second episode, but it returns as a tour de force in the third episode. And it is a recurring theme in all of these older kind of like 70s to late or to 80s superhero shows of them needing to be able to provide like extra unique angles and extra action where they don't have the budget to do so. So every fight is on a hill. And this is some powerful technology that I unironically I love. The fact that they are always having these fights on these hills, so you can have scenes of like guys rolling down the hill, or the hero like sliding down the hill to reposition, or like we see in the third episode, which we can touch on more, a scene of people rolling down the hill, but then that footage is played in reverse, so it looks like they rolled up the hill.
Oh my god,
So good.
The hill technology
lost my goddamn mind.
in
This
these
just broke
early
me.
shows is outstanding, and I love it. it gives you free visual effects too, because anytime you go to kick, you're kicking up a little bit of dirt or sand that gets to be in the frame. That looks cool.
Truly working with what they got and making the most of it.
They really are,
Honestly.
and I appreciate it. Go for it. It sounded like maybe you had something to say.
No, I just this episode's a lot.
This episode is a lot, and yet somehow the second
And
episode is even more.
Yeah, I was just gonna say it's a lot, and yet it's the least of the 3 episodes.
Oh, by far.
that we-
Because, I mean, so much of this episode has to be dedicated to establishing the plot.
Yeah.
So I feel like episode 2 was the one, even though they still kind of had to establish plot a little bit, they were like, all right, it's episode 2, baby. Let's go nuts.
Yeah, let's rock.
So
This first one, they got one rider kick, and he's done, and he's melted.
Yep. Yeah, he does melt. Yep, that is. I do think it is important to touch on the fact that Spider-Man does in fact melt, just like all of his victims, except it's a red filter this time.
Yes, red
Yeah.
instead of blue.
Yeah.
the red sealant foam.
Oh, he does. He gets a. Oh, I just remembered. There's a scene.
Oh yeah, he gets a mook.
He gets a mook because in order to do the effect, they cut to a shot where the mook is like lying down on the ground so they can see his neck at an angle, and I guess someone just like drops the dart on his neck.
Oh yeah.
Oh, what a great scene. I think other than that though, it sounds like we are just about talked
wait.
out on episode 1.
What is Kamen Rider's kill count for this episode 1? Or are we gonna count
I think this is his first kill.
Yeah, these are his first. I'm counting the mook because he was holding him.
Okay.
So
Okay,
that's
so
his
two.
first
I
2
gotta
kills.
I gotta update that final count.
Yeah, we gotta update the final
Okay.
count, but we've got
We
one.
want to keep track of
for
this.
We've got
One,
one
yes.
mook and we've
two.
got one Spider-Man under the
Yeah.
Kamen Rider belt.
I guess since this is our first episode too, we should talk about the credits.
Yes, the credits. Oh, the credits.
I love the credits so much.
I feel like it is important to talk about both the opening credits and the end credits. Because the opening credits rule. I unironically love that song. It's so Japanese 70s superhero. As someone who
It's
is
the
like,
epitome.
it really is. As someone who has watched this stuff a lot and has therefore like checked out various compilations of like there are a couple of compilations on YouTube that every now and again, even though it's like 35 to 45 minutes long, I'll just like sit and watch like every Super Sentai opening from like the very first one to the most recent one. So I've seen like a bunch of these like 70s style superhero openings, and this one it's got everything. It's got the trumpets, it's got barely lyrics. It's got our protagonist stunting on a motorcycle.
It's got what we fucking need.
It
I
really
love
does.
the barely lyrics. It's so good.
It's so good. I love that our chorus is Kamen Rider, Rider.
I
Yeah.
love it. While we were watching the episode, I remember I did comment on like this is like I knew Soge King's theme from One Piece was heavily inspired by this kind of media, but like good lord, actually knowing the comparisons back to back now, it barely seems parody. That's just what they are.
It's well,
Yeah,
it makes
you want
sense,
some other
though.
perspective, by the way?
Oh, please go ahead.
Animal Crossing's Go-Go KK Rider.
Oh yeah,
Yes,
exact
yes,
same
yes.
thing.
It is just that. It's just the Kamen Rider song.
It's why
Like,
that's one
I
of
didn't
my
realize
favorite KK Rider
how
songs.
not a parody it is. It is
It's
just the
just-
song, but with KK.
But it's one of those things where I love looking at that kind of stuff now, kind of in context. Because if you think about it, this is those people's childhood,
Yeah.
right? Like I love now that I know the history of like Super Sentai as a show. It has only made me love the Ginyu Force even more.
Yes.
Because
God,
that's
yes.
obviously just Toriyama being like, man, when I was a kid, these dudes ruled, and I want one in my
Honestly.
show. Like, Saiyaman is just Kamen Rider. Saiyaman is just straight up Kamen Rider. And
He
it's
basically just has
amazing.
half the helmet.
Yeah. It's so fun to, like, revisit those things, because initially when you, like, especially for like I think a lot of us in this group who were young anime fans when those shows were first coming out, and you know we were doing the whole Toonami experience where pretty much the only anime we watched was imported by networks for us. That was kind of like we didn't really get those references, and so we thought it was just like goofy character work for the sake of like having a laugh. But when you get to come back to it with context of like, oh hey, this is what their childhood was like, and it was the exact same thing. It's very interesting to come back to those sort of things and see like, oh, that's why this is here, is because this dude is like 38 when he made this, and he legitimately thinks that's like the coolest shit because it's what he grew up with. It's
Yeah.
it's a lot of fun. And then we have to we almost forgot about the ending credits, which
One more thing of the starting
Oh,
credits,
please,
I
go
think
ahead.
it is just when he's stunting on the bike. I think my favorite part is when he's trying to do the donuts. But
yeah.
he's just kind of like kicking the dirt. Making
Yeah,
the
the
bike go.
dirt's like too loose for him to actually do a donut in, so he just like kind of has to almost do a circle and then like bail.
Have to do all the shots in one day. We can't change location. You're
Yeah,
just
look,
gonna have to make it work.
We've got this location for 24 hours. Literally every bike stunt that we are going to record for the entirety of this show has to be done today. It's
Honestly, it probably was something like
honestly
that.
it was probably something close at the very least, because I will tell you what, that is definitely the bike park that they are in at the beginning of the second episode for sure.
Yeah.
And then
And the ending credits.
the ending credits. It's a nice song. It's a good song, but more importantly,
Slow
is
ballad.
it's the slow-mo fight scene.
Oh, so
Yeah.
good.
Oh,
Brilliant.
baby. There's just something about, especially because the choreography is already taking into account that like there are going to be various camera angles, and so you can like pull punches, and you know the pose is a little more important than the actual action because you're trying to get it to look cool. But then when you watch people doing that in slow motion, it's just wonderful.
And was that actually in slow motion? I don't know if it was.
I don't know if it was in slow motion or if it was just them acting it out in slow motion.
Yeah, because I was looking at the grass and I'm like, that grass is just flowing normally.
I think the way gravity worked meant it was in slow motion.
That's the only thing. Like it was weird.
Maybe it was just really
he does
fast
a back
grass.
suplex counter, so
He does.
that should have been a lot faster.
Yes, it should have. But yeah, the end, not my favorite ending credits, admittedly, just because of some of the other Kamen Rider shows I've seen, but a very good one. I will say, another kind of interesting thing about going back to this season specifically, is kind of seeing certain parallels between another season that we will hopefully get to much later. But it was the very first season of what is referred to as the Heisei era. It's the era that came after what this series is shot in, which is the Showa era. It is called Kamen Rider Kuga. It aired in 2000. Yeah. Original airing was from January 30th, 2000 to January 21st, 2001. And it's like because it was the very first Heisei era Kamen Rider, they decided to use it as a way to like retell the original Kamen Rider story. And so like one of the interesting parallels that you see with that is that I'm pretty sure the first three, I'd have to double check, but I'm pretty sure the first three bad guys that you encounter in this season are parallel to the first three bad guys in OG Kamen Rider. So the first Kuga bad guy is a spider, the second Kuga bad guy is a bat, and I'm pretty sure the third Kuga bad guy is a scorpion. And so it's
Is the eighth bee lady?
I haven't gotten far enough in the show to check. I I really hope so.
I hope so.
I'd have to.
That's jumping the gun.
Yeah,
way,
that's jumping
way
the gun
down the
a
line,
lot.
but I'm just excited for it.
Yeah, I mean, look, we have someone on the podcast called B Drops. Well, of course, we're
Hey,
excited
whoa.
for the B episode.
Can
I'm
hardly
excited for a
contain
lot of
myself.
episodes, though, if I'm being honest.
I'm excited for the school octopus episode.
I'm excited
Truly.
for. I know Shakes mentioned we got 2 back-to-back episodes of Cobra Man. Hype for that.
Oh yeah, goodness.
That being said, before we get to Cobra Man, let's go ahead and continue with our second series episode of this initial viewing, which is The Terrifying Batman. Starting with
boy.
the plot synopsis. A woman named Miho Yamada, upon being dropped off at her apartment complex, hears a maniacal laugh. Then, a voice proclaiming that she has been chosen. She immediately rushes into her apartment to find her bedroom window open. That she finds Batman perched at the corner of the room, who then bites her.
The Batman?
Yeah,
I-
Not to
it
be
was
confused
the
with
Batman.
The Batman.
Bruce Wayne.
It's just the Batman.
I can't believe Bruce Brain is in Kamen Rider.
The first thing that I noticed about this episode was Miho's updo.
Woo!
Ooh,
Miho,
girl.
girl, your hair.
Girl,
I
She out
she
here.
was she's
Styling.
stunning. Yeah,
Stunning.
like
Got that big
Truly,
ass
all her money at the
beehive.
boutiques. Got her hoarded in the beehive and getting all of them designer clothes, but she can't pay her
God.
mortgage. Ooh, girl.
pinnacle of
Miho.
fashion of the 1970s.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
good.
it's
I'm with
such a
it.
70s look. Like, I
And
almost
she's up
wanna
there with her
go-
yellow dress.
Yes.
Yeah.
I want to show that outfit to my parents and be like, y'all remember this shit? Because I know they would. They would be losing their mind. Like,
Show
my
that
mom,
to,
my mom would be like, oh, my mom had that dress. I know she would. It would, it was just, mwah, it was so good.
And then your parents go, "Oh shit, is that Kamen Rider?"
yeah.
Episode 2.
Oh, shit.
Why didn't you invite us onto the
That's
podcast?
Kamen Rider.
Yeah,
That's
God.
the homie. They know why I didn't invite them.
Because they've already watched.
Yeah, exactly. They
Yeah,
already seen it.
exactly.
Don't you know? I've mentioned before, I was born in Japan. What do you think they were watching the whole time they were there? Binge watching Kamen Rider the whole time. They wouldn't even let me watch. I was too busy being a baby.
Well, based on the things that happened in this episode, maybe you should not have been watching.
Yeah, boy,
Yeah.
I have
boy, I
Make
tell you
notes.
what. This is the episode that reinforces my favorite thing to learn about old TV shows in the 70s, which is they really did not have as strong of a censorship laws as they do now. You really could just say anything was for kids.
Anything. I would like to propose an alternate title for episode 2. Hongo goes apeshit.
A little bit.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah.
Hongo goes apeshit. Like, he's just like, all right, it's time for me to go buck wild and to do the most.
The most.
Does
but
absolutely the most. But again, we are that's for later on. We're
getting
jumping
ahead
the
of
gun a bit.
ourselves.
So we then move on to Takeshi Hongo, despite his cyborg conversion, is still practicing motocross racing. I
Yeah.
don't know why he wouldn't. After
He's gonna-
winning,
It's
Miho
unfair.
arrives to present him with a bouquet and a kiss. Takeshi then notices fangs protruding from her mouth and struggles with
Oh,
her
yeah.
before she dies. Wait a minute.
Yeah.
How did she die?
Oh wait. Oh, I forgot to count that one.
He just threw
no.
her to the ground and she
Yeah,
died.
No, he
Yeah, he
like
knees
kneed
her in
her,
the stomach and she just died.
and then she
Oh,
just,
just
boom
kills
down
her.
to the
apparently the
ground.
plot also doesn't know how she died. It was just it's literally the teen
He
girl
killed her with a
squad
deadly
Tompkins
strike.
death.
She's just very frail. She's invested
She died
everything
somehow.
in that hair.
Yep, yeah, it was once she could no longer be in control of her own updo.
He killed
Yeah.
he killed a normal human being with his terrible cyborg strength.
And like everyone's cool with it too.
Yeah, sure, whatever. She tried to eat you.
Yeah, I guess
Yeah,
that's fine. I guess if someone tried to eat me in public and I kneed them in the stomach so hard they died, I think
I-
any eyewitnesses would be like, yeah, all right.
I absolutely adore that the scene doesn't address that she's dead. It's the next scene where they say, "Oh, Miho died."
They don't declare her dead in that scene. They don't declare her dead until the next scene, after her corpse, I assume, has already been buried or fed to the man-eating scorpions.
But again, we get ahead of ourselves.
Again, we live ahead of ourselves on this podcast. I tell you what,
1,000 miles an hour.
We're just too excited.
There's so much good stuff to cover. Okay, moving on with this wonderful plot synopsis here. Meanwhile, another woman has been infected by Batman's virus at Miho's building. Before she can infect her husband, Takeshi arrives to hold her off. Unknown to him, several other infected people are also at the building. Takeshi finds Batman in Miho's apartment, who reveals to him that the building is actually Shocker's laboratory for human experimentation, used for testing a virus to be propagated in humans. Batman escapes, then sicks his subjects on Takeshi, who jumps out of the apartment to transform and battle Batman at the rooftop.
Yeah.
I don't know why that sentence was just really good to me.
I have written down for this section, as
well you should.
Because that's all they're all doing.
Yep. While they battle, the great leader of Shocker announces to his grunts that Batman's signal has fizzled away due to his defensive self-hypnosis. Well, that part wasn't clear in the episode.
That part came... they were talking to the statue man, right?
When they were
mastermind statue.
Yeah, the fasci statue. I was too busy writing down how fascist that statue looked.
They are Nazis.
Notes. Really does.
So they had to retreat or something.
Fasci statue.
I guess that really wasn't covered.
Not well.
Yeah, they didn't do a great job with that one, but what they did do a great job with was the very zombie-like, zombie movie-esque scene where Takeshi is face-to-face with all of those brainwashed apartment dwellers, and none of them are moving their mouths, but you can hear, the key grip and the cameraman and all of the people doing, the boom mics and stuff going,
It's so good.
It's so good.
I also do have... Oh, I'm sorry.
Going back to the very first part of the synopsis a little bit, there's some pretty, to Shake's point again about the camera work in this show being, better than one might expect. There's some pretty good, at this point, they're, tried and true tropes, but I'm not sure if they were so well established back in 1971. So some of the, horror movie kind of style camera angles and stuff in this particular episode it's really solid.
Yeah, no, that reveal with all the Bat people kind of just standing there in his doorway. That was some good shit. That was spooky as hell.
Yeah, that was quality. That was 10 out of 10 right there.
I wanted to say real quick before we move on, because I think we grazed over it. It's coming up right after. I don't know. We get Hongo's proof that he actually knows biochemistry and why that is somewhat important to his skill set for the first time, outside of just him having a 600 IQ.
The next part of the plot synopsis, I think. But yes, they actually...
I couldn't remember.
Because they referenced Takeshi Hongo being a biochemist 6 times within the first 2 episodes. And so I'm glad they paid it off, at least partway into episode 2, and they didn't wait. Because they bring it up so often about Takeshi and his biochemistry degree.
He's so smart and so handsome.
So smart, and he's so strong. And he's so handsome. Ladies, this eligible Kamen Rider could be yours.
Call in today.
Yeah, call in today.
He has light up eyes.
He does, yeah. I'm sure that's not the only part that lights up.
If you know what I'm saying.
I did want to comment on one thing a bit further back, just real quick, just because it will be brought up a little bit later. Again, I am sure. Unlike the eerie Spider-Man, when Takeshi first encounters Batman, he just cordially introduces himself.
That's right. He's just like, "What's up? It's me. I'm Batman."
I am the Batman.
Yeah,
Hello.
he just like explains everything and is like, "This is my name. This is what we're about.
Yeah, here's my plan.
Enjoy."
Would you like a cookie?
Yeah,
I've got some
like
tea.
Yes.
let me get you some tea. It was really good.
Sit down.
It was very interesting. Yeah, it was just a really nice. It wasn't like too formal either. Like it was formal enough that like he was trying to be polite, but informal enough for it to be like obvious that they're enemies.
Yeah.
It was because Spider-Man never really introduces himself or says like what his whole shit is about. He's just like,
Or
"What's up,
anything.
Spider?
He's just there.
What's up, Kamen Rider? It's you and me. Let's go." And Kamen Rider's
Just
like,
twitching.
"Yeah, I love murder. Let's do it."
Just twiddling his fingers
Yeah.
behind some debris.
Yeah, just spirit fingerings behind some grass.
He just loved doing it.
He loved it. He loved twiddling his fingers. He had the soul within him, the soul of Broadway.
So back to the lab.
Yeah, so Rurikyo Midorikawa is questioning Tobei Tachibana. They spell that differently on the plot synopsis than they do in the show. That's interesting. Tobei Tachibana. Hold on now. It's changed names. Rurikyo Midorikawa is questioning Tobei Tachibana at Snack Amigo. They have changed the name of the restaurant. It is apparently no longer Cafe Amigo. It is now Snack Amigo.
Wait, I need to make a note of this.
Please do. I want to see
Okay.
how many times the name of this restaurant changes throughout the show.
I'm a snack amigo.
Yeah, Sam.
Actually, I'm a snack amiga, but whatever. I
That's
don't
fair.
play that many games.
Look, 6 in one hand, half a dozen in the other. Are you gonna come eat or what? So, yes, questioning to Tobei Tachibana at Snack Amigo. He claims to not know where Takeshi is, and upon receiving a call from him, promptly hangs up. After Rurikyo leaves, air quotes, Tachibana calls him again while Rurikyo overhears, revealing that Takeshi is at Jonan University. There, Takeshi analyzes a blood sample from one of the victims. How did he get it? We're not going to ask. Where he and his colleague, Kishimori, find out that Batman's virus is sentient and responds to infrasonic waves?
Sure.
I don't know if that's correct
Sure.
plot synopsis, but I'm going to give it to you. Upon reaching the
You're
brain,
filling in the gaps the show didn't fill.
yeah, Takeshi asks Kishimori to make an antidote, but he calls the matter out of the question.
Oh. I refuse.
Yeah, more or less. So this is something that I think it's Kumori. So it's not quite. What is Japanese word for bat? I'm pretty sure is Komori, right? Yeah, it's Komori. So it's not quite there, but when I noticed that his name was Kishimori, I was like, wait a minute, Mori, isn't that something bat based? And I was almost there.
Don't worry about it. Actually, don't worry
Yeah,
about it. It never comes
it's
up.
Don't
not
worry.
plot relevant at all. He's not actually the Batman or anything. It's just a fun fact.
I just thought that was interesting.
Yeah, they were just having a little fun. Yeah, this is it. This is the scene. We proved that Takeshi Hongo actually has a 600 IQ because he does a little bit of science, and
In his chosen field.
Even though his colleague seems to be like just as qualified and discovered half of the info himself, if not more, and was like,
Yeah.
"Hey, bro, just check this out. I think this is the thing." And Hongo was like, "Maybe, yeah. What about this?" And his colleague was like, "You're right. Oh my god."
I also appreciate that Kishimori was clearly given like direction to monologue or something. I don't know, but my dude stares off into space anytime he has to deliver a line that is not directly at Takeshi Hongo. My man just like posts up with the most intense eyes he can muster, and he's like,
Starts
I don't know."
projecting.
Yeah, he really does.
He couldn't memorize all of those science words, so he looks up to read the cue cards for the monologue.
He's got his script on the ceiling. Why you keep looking up? No reason.
Don't worry about it.
Yeah, don't worry
I'm
about
thinking.
it. But yeah, so this is a scene where we finally get to prove that Takeshi Hongo really has a 600 IQ. And also, apparently, he gets a blood sample. Like, seriously, when did he get that blood sample?
I mean,
Maybe
oh, sorry.
when he maybe when he killed
No, we hadn't
the
gotten there
person at
yet.
the beginning.
When he killed the model.
Oh yeah, when
Yeah.
he murdered that model, that's probably yeah.
Miho and Chie, which
Yeah,
for whatever
Miho.
reason I remember the name of that second woman who got
Well,
infected.
because she was the only
were
other
both-
one with a name.
Yeah, they were both infected and dead. So
No, Chie
I-
never passed away.
oh right, okay, yeah,
He restrained her and knocked her out.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, well we
and
got
then,
one
and then
dead
her
lady.
husband, Half-Life 2 scientist, noised.
Well, maybe
Yeah.
even more reason you could take it from the live subject.
Yeah. So I guess that's, but it's another one
Where'd
of
you
those
get this
just
blood?
like the plot synopsis has to fill in stuff that they just don't like. I mean, I'm not saying that they needed to explain it outright, but maybe just like a little scene or like a mention of it or something.
Or any setup.
Yeah,
at all.
exactly. He just like
Anything.
we just go to the university and it's like, oh, we're investigating this blood sample. Look at this weird virus, and I'm like, what blood sample? Where did you get it from? What virus? What are you talking about? How is this plot relevant? It's the 70s, I guess, is really what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
It's the 70s.
Pacing. Who needs it?
Yeah, exactly. So continuing on with the synopsis here. Upon leaving Jonan, Takeshi is pursued by Rurikyo and Hiromi on his way to Snack Amigo, but by the time they get there, he has already gotten away. Rurikyo then follows Takeshi's trail. At Shocker's lab, Takeshi and Tachibana investigate the scene, where Takeshi declares his intent to save the victims and leaves Tachibana to look after them. Ugh. Brain art, ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something. It's real hard to read something when a mic is like right in front of your face, because that's where it's supposed to be for you to get like the good audio quality. I'm having to lean around this motherfucker. So forgive me some reading upsies. Rurikyo, still believing that Takeshi is in the room, accidentally knocks Tachibana out with a glass vase. I forgot about this. Awakening one of the infected.
Oh yeah.
Rurikyo questions him, who claims to have evidence that Takeshi killed her father. After she sets him free, the infected bites her, making her scream and alerting Takeshi to her presence. We got some good bits in this little chunk of synopsis here. First of all, we have the scenes that made Shakes and I really like Tachibana, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, we really
I guess I should have stopped him then.
we're really smooth. He's a smooth dude. He's a real
Yeah.
smooth jerk.
He's a friend. I like him. He's really not even that small, but I get such kind of like, I'm just a little guy energy from him. He's just a little dude. He's just a little guy, and it's his birthday. He's a little birthday boy.
I love that he's sort of quickly becoming Hongo's professional hype man.
Yes, I am.
Yeah.
I'm very much so a fan of that. I like that he is kind of slowly but surely becoming the Alfred to Takeshi Hongo's Batman. He's kind of just like,
Hongo's
what's up?
got a
I'm here
couple
to-"
of buddies.
Yeah.
By episode 3, he's kind of letting everybody in on his lifestyle. It's
Well,
just
I
because
mean-
he has a tight group.
Yeah. And I mean, to be
Guys,
fair,
he
when
won't believe
when
it.
you're part cyborg, it's kind of like, look, this is gonna come up eventually. I can't just keep disappearing like I'm Bruce Wayne. You're gonna figure it out. So like, hey, look, I'm a cyborg. I'm fighting Nazis. That's cool, right?
I appreciate the honesty.
Yeah, exactly.
Honestly, yeah.
Thank you for telling me.
There was one scene that is not important whatsoever that I really, really adored when Ruriko and her friend first storm into the now Snack Amigo and just
Oh, they just
completely
run over
mow
that
over a
dude.
waiter.
Yeah.
He makes like the weakest little noise. He's like, They never address it. Like, nobody helps this guy. We never see him again. I just felt so bad.
He just gets
over him.
bowled over.
Yeah.
Riko also has really good fashions
Yes.
for this episode
Yeah.
Yeah,
as well.
she had a great look this episode. Loved the hat. Loved the glasses. Loved the jean jacket.
Mm.
Yes.
All of it
Just
was good.
stunning.
Denim, baby. Also, this particular chunk of synopsis has the wonderful scene of Takeshi casually walking back to the apartment after pulling up the car, and then hearing the scream from Rurikyo. It was just because he's strolling along, he's jingling the keys in his
Strutting,
hand,
yeah.
he's just probably whistling.
He really looks like he's gonna whistle a jaunty
He's
tune.
really about to, and then he hears the scream. It's like, oh, it's action time. Whoops.
He's got some vampire virus-ridden folks tied up in his apartment inside, and he just doesn't have a care in the world.
No, the care. Well, why could you have a care in the world? You're a karate bug man.
He's
You
the
know, that's fair.
goddamn writer.
Yeah. Also, shout out to Tobey for making just the most belabored squat onto that stool right before he gets taken out by Rukia.
Yes.
He really he steps over. First of all, he steps over that shit like he's Will Riker, and then he just busts it all the way open. He's like, let me get as wide as I can to sit on this 2x3 stool. Let me really earn this. Dude's trying to squat on that thing like he's trying to rip his pants. It's amazing. And then he gets. I really thought they were going to do more with this vase scene, because they do.
No.
They do a great little first-person thing where you are, the camera is having you look first-person from Rukia's view. So you see her, you're watching her walk into the apartment. You see the guy sitting down. You see a vase and grab it. I'm expecting for this dude to take a vase over the top of the dome. I'm expecting it to shatter. I'm expecting I'm expecting it to be a whole thing. Nope. Light jab
Bonk.
to the side of the neck, and he's down. Ladies and gentlemen, she's done it. Your winner by submission, Rukio.
I just love how it's just a little bonk, it doesn't break. They don't cut away from it.
No.
And it's on the shoulder.
The only thing I can imagine is that the reason they had to do the scene that way is because that was just a real ass vase. And
Yeah,
probably was
complex. And they were like seriously, you guys,
away.
we can't break this.
Just cut away.
I know, right?
You bring it up. You go.
And then to compound onto the wonder of that screen, of that scene, and the absolute tragedy of errors that is Rukio as a character in the show, there's a dude on a bed who is tied up, and he has face paint on, and she just listens to him when he says shit. He's like, oh yeah, I know Takeshi Hongo. I know your dad. I have proof that Takeshi Hongo killed him. I totally do. I promise. Untie me. I won't do anything untoward. I swear. And she's just like, yeah, you seem like you're open up and on the level. I got you. Like,
Okay,
hey,
I believe you.
Rurukio, any critical thinking. Any critical thinking, my girl.
No.
Nah.
I'm too blinded by revenge.
Yeah, no, we replaced our critical thinking with revenge for this arc. And we have proven that is not a great idea. As is made evident, this is actually a nice segue into the next part of the plot synopsis here. As Tachibana awakens, Takeshi finds Batman holding Rukio hostage while he reveals the truth about Professor Midorikawa's death. Takeshi questions him about a cure to the virus, to which Batman demonstrates the cure lies in his wing's claw. Batman,
like an idiot.
Yeah.
Like a big
Wow.
dummy.
Very stupid, and also leads to a great scene that I want to get to, but I want to go ahead and finish out the synopsis.
Yeah.
Batman flies
Yes.
to the rooftops where, with a few shocker... we have a name for them now. How spicy. With a few shocker combat men, he battles a transformed Takeshi. They're shocker combat men now.
That's the playset.
Yeah, that's the playset.
You can buy a pack of 3 shocker combat men.
Yes, you can. At the end of the battle, Takeshi kills Batman with a rider throw. Back at the apartment complex, Takeshi cures the victims by piercing them with Batman's torn-off claw. Now forgiven by Rukio, he rides off on the Cyclone to carry on his fight against Shocker. The face that Hongo makes as soon as Batman explains how to cure these people, like never before have I seen a face more deserving of the "we are going to beat you to death" meme.
Yeah.
Because that's like, it is such a murder face. He is just like, you understand now, right? I'm going to rip off your arms and beat you with them.
Fatal
Yeah,
mistake.
And
oh my
boy,
God.
does he.
Oh boy, yeah,
Boy,
this
does
part.
he.
This is
I
when
would
we
like to
notice
work
how
up to it.
fucking murderous Kamen Rider
Yeah,
is.
this
how
is when we
deadly
learned
he
that
is.
Takeshi Hongo has killed and he will kill again. I feel like this
I
is
have
really the only thing
one
we took
note
away from this part
describing
of the episode,
this
so let's just get
particular
right into
scene,
it.
and it's just in all caps, exploding into blood.
Yep.
Yeah.
He murks like three
He just
dudes
throws
like
one
that,
of them off
right?
a building.
So
Yeah, in a couple different ways.
as yeah, I
Yeah,
was gonna
first
say,
off, he
as
throws a dude off a building.
as much as Shakes and I had been making jokes about it in the episode before, he does in fact just straight up mankind like two guys and just toss them off the top of the building, and they just it like you see a shot of them like kind of sort of falling off of the side of the building, and then it just cuts to like it's supposed to be a floor and there's just like a splatter of blood.
Yeah, it's
horrible.
It's so graphic.
It speaks volumes, really. Like, I understand this is like a taste
okay,
cut, like, you
but-
know, it's
Right,
speaking
yeah.
without showing. But
But here's
man,
the
you
thing,
really went all the way with
Yeah,
the
they
show
were
not
like, let's
showing
show
if
as
it's
much
still
as we
showing.
can. Yeah.
Baffling
Just-
because, like, you get the base scene where they don't even cut away, and then you get these scenes where it's just people exploding into blood. Like, you know how to do these editing tricks. Why are you not? Why?
Yeah, just exploding into blood.
It's cheaper.
It kind of
Budget.
reminds me of like a complete inverse of that scene at the very end of Texas Chainsaw Massacre, where you see one of the characters, quote, get run over by like an 18-wheeler, and it's just like a floppy mannequin.
Yeah.
But they were trying not to be super graphic, so there's no
There's-
blood or guts or anything. It's just like a thing that gets run over.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Like
this
it
is-
just reminds me of like going way too like they were like, oh, it's fine if we don't use
There's-
one end of this spectrum
Sometimes you get into
and
those
go so
spectrums,
far in the
and then
other
there's
that it
something
really
that's very
doesn't
off
matter.
about it.
yeah.
I will always remember there's a movie that I was watching, and someone's head gets, like, on camera, just gets squished by a bookcase. And it'd be a really graphic scene, except, you know, the sound, like,
Ooh.
stock sound effect pop?
Ooh.
It's just, please! And I'm like, this is...
Oh
That's
no!
why.
Oh no.
That's not appropriate.
I love
It's
that.
really
That's
not.
It's
really
so
good.
good.
It's very good, but it's not appropriate.
No.
Uh,
But yeah, so
yeah.
he throws the first dude off a building, and that's that. And then I guess he steals a blade from one of them, because he just cuts down two other guys
Yeah,
with very
that's
similar
right.
shots of just blood across the floor.
and then he gets old Batman with the Rider throw.
Which
'Cause
is,
apparently
I guess,
now
a
anything- I guess anytime he kills someone with a move, it's a Rider thing now.
that's fair. You know what? It's a finisher is if you finish with it, right?
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
Yeah.
he basically back suplexes the guy and then chucks him off of a building.
He like back suplexes him in midair and then is like, no, what? While I'm still in
It-
midair though, off the building you go.
Yeah. To which we get a gallon of red paint
Yeah,
poured
like a
directly onto the
Gallon
camera.
right on the lens. Yeah, they were like, hey, we need you to understand this bat dude is dead.
He's full of bat juice.
Deflate.
Full of juice.
It's all gone.
Yeah, he was full of juice. It got squeezed out by Takeshi Hongo.
Yeah.
And then he just that scene ends, and he's just back in the back in the apartment, happy as a
In his
clam, just
suit.
healing people. Here, take this
With
little
a
black
severed
claw.
arm.
Yeah, he's just
Yeah.
got this dude's severed claw. Like, don't worry about where I got this, kids. Wink.
He's just injecting the bat serum juice into all of the victims, just completely nonchalantly. This isn't presented as being weird or scary or horrific. Like this is just like, yay, the hero won.
Yeah, we did it, you guys. We won the day, as has been made evident by this man's severed
he's just
hand
scraping
that I hold.
this bat.
This was the calm
man's
after the
hand.
storm, and yet,
This.
So... Yep.
yeah.
It's so wild. So
God.
what he gets, correct me if I'm wrong, but he gets 3 mercenaries and the Batman. So that puts our total
Yeah.
at 6.
Yes. 7.
I think
Wouldn't
it's
that be
updated
7?
now. I think it's 7 now because
That should-
we forgot to count Miho at the time.
Oh, we didn't count Miho. You're right. So we are at 7. Because
Yeah.
you definitely need her in the stomach so hard she died.
Kamen Rider's kill count is now at 7 in
And
2
we're
episodes.
2 episodes in. There are Kamen Rider series
Look,
where
they only have
haven't
98
even beaten
episodes.
their first enemy within 2 episodes, and we
This
were at
guy's-
7 murders.
And this guy's just stacking bodies.
Well, yeah,
Hugo ain't
of
fucking
course.
around.
I guess to be fair, we are also counting mook deaths. So if we count mook deaths, there are
It's
some people who have
Mooks
got
are
some
people
numbers.
too.
I mean, the mooks died in bloody explosions.
Yeah, we can't not count mook deaths on this one. Speaking of mook deaths, we have some good mook deaths on episode 3, the monstrous scorpion man.
Real quick,
Hit me
real
with
quick
it.
though, because I wrote it down. Episode 2, I think it was a narration, right? It ends as he rides off into the sunset.
Yes.
That the line, enduring the sorrow of his cyborg state.
Yes, that's right. Because Ruki, he's like with Tachibana and everyone in the apartment, and he's like, Tachibana, go take Rukio somewhere safe, and y'all have a good night. And he's like, but Tachibana's like, but wait, Rukio doesn't hate you anymore. She understands the situation. And he's like, no, I can't stay with her because I'm a monster. I'm a cyborg. And then he leaves.
I love it, and like the juxtaposition of this scene of him just being like, I'm a freak, and like the end music is just like da 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 da. This is
And, like,
amazing.
even better is that I guess in the direction they tried to have him express that angst while he's riding the motorcycle, and so he's like, he's got like some of his hair in his face, and he's just like making this weird face, and he's like shaking the bike all around while he's riding it, but he's still clearly trying to keep it straight. It's so good.
It's amazing.
I'm just a freak. A freak.
He's just a freak.
It's like, no.
Da 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 da.
Yeah, go, let's
I'm a
go.
weirdo.
God, he's just a college dirtbag, baby. Listen to Iron Maiden with him.
Oh.
Okay, so
But yes.
here it is, the most important episode for plot reasons, as has been made evident by the first line in the plot synopsis. Here we go. Shocker is revealed to be finishing some Nazi Germany unfinished projects, those of making monstrous
I
humans
just
with
wrote
animal
down
traits.
secret
Now is
Nazi
deployed
implants.
the Scorpion Man. Right.
Same. I also wrote down
Top.
secret Nazi implants, 3 question marks.
Right
I
off
also
top,
wrote
they were
down
like,
secret
yo,
Nazis.
shocker, straight up Nazis. Bet you didn't know, but now you do. We're fighting Nazis. We're anti-fascism. Underwater Hitler.
One day.
We're gonna find. Okay, so I actually, and Gopher can attest to this because we had a call last night to discuss some D&D stuff, and so I had to go look up the Starfish Hitler picture again so I could send it. Apparently Starfish Hitler is Kamen Rider
Good.
V3, which is the season right after this one.
Oh
So
no.
I
if
think
we go in
have
order,
to.
like it's gonna be sooner than you think that we will be face to face with Starfish Hitler.
Yeah.
I think we have to at least get to Starfish Hitler episode. Bare
At the
minimum.
very least.
Okay, so there's not a lot to unpack within that first line aside from the fact that, like, yes, definitely they're Nazis. So
Yeah, so here's where I applied a little meta knowledge
heavy with it.
because all these episodes have a next time on Kamen Rider.
Yes.
And they very explicitly were like, who is the Scorpion Man? The Scorpion Man's got a secret identity that
Yeah.
will be revealed in the next episode.
Yep.
To which I, a sensible person who knows how stories work,
I'm just gonna
went
assume
with an
you and I
interesting
were
solution.
you and I were both wrong, huh? What was
Well,
your thought?
yeah. Initially, I was thinking we're going to pull we revived the old scientist, now he's our pawn.
Oh, interesting. You thought Scorpion
Like,
Man was
something
gonna
with
be
emotional
Morikawa.
impact.
I
thought it was gonna be like, oh fuck.
I thought it was going to be Tachibana. I thought they were going to straight up like put a prestige.
That would have been a real
Tachibana
that would have
has
been a real good.
your enemy the whole time, but they didn't do
shit.
that either.
No, they
kinda
didn't do
just
any of
went
that.
with
We'll
the
get to what they
dumbest
did.
option.
they really made it as dumb as possible.
Speaking
I'm
of
excited to
going
get
with the
to
dumbest option, boy, the writing on this, I appreciate that there is someone who has written full plot synopses for these episodes, but some of these sentences are great. So, like, for instance, we had that first sentence that ended with, now is deployed the Scorpion Man. Very next sentence in the plot synopsis. Shocker also have slaves who are captured people who weren't chosen by neither to be cyborgs nor combatants or technicians.
Mm-hmm. They're just guys.
Anyway,
they're just guys.
Yeah, they're just little guys. It's their birthday.
Just
anyway,
a couple of guys.
The leader of Shocker is challenging them to go away from the desert base within 10 minutes. Who wrote this? Was this written in Japanese first and then like translated by Google? Okay, I'm sorry.
Maybe.
Gotta make do.
The leader of Shocker is challenging them to go away from the desert base within 10 minutes so they can be free. As they wear
They must
burdens,
climb that desert. They're wearing
they wear burdens.
Little ball and chains. They're so tiny.
As they wear burdens, they hardly manage to approach the exit, and now the allotted time came to end. They deploy the man-eating... Hold on, how am I supposed to read the sentence? As they wear burdens, they hardly manage to approach the exit, and now the allotted time came to end. They deploy the man-eating scorpions that are scorpions who spray an extremely acidic... Nope. That says an extremely acid liquid from its sting, making most of the slaves' bodies melt. Wow, what a run-on sentence.
Instead of eating them.
That was
it's
one
bad grammar,
sentence.
but it is true. That is
it's
exactly
what
what
happened.
Accurate,
it was
though.
just not written well. Only one old man survives and is chosen to be bait for Kamen Rider Ichigo.
Yeah. This also has a very good sentence of "Let man-eating scorpions carry out the sentence."
Yep. Yeah, let man-eating scorpions carry out the death sentence.
And they hit him with a pink mist.
Yeah, I love that they're... One, I adore that they are clearly just like little scorpion toys that they like modded to have glow-in-the-dark eyes and a thing that they could shoot out of the stinger.
The melting toys for the people. Just like if you've ever lit an army man on fire.
Yes.
It's just that.
Oh my gosh,
It's
pretty much.
Beautiful.
The special effect of men melting is a 2-stage effect. One of where they did model something that looks like a human that has been melted and made it bubble a little, and then fade into our good friend special effects plywood with a bit of red paint that is just going down a hole.
Yep.
Return of the red juice.
Yeah, Return of the Red Juice. We took special effects plywood. We
Less
put some
bubbly.
sand on him. Pumped out some red juice. Played it backwards.
Harkening back to the amazing callbacks to the Hill technology, we are returning to a wonderful set of these
the desert.
I don't know if I should call them emancipated, but these poor people who are crossing the quote desert, and you can see very clearly that the sand is so dark and wet. It's amazing, and they are working so very hard to keep the shots of the surrounding like foliage and forestry out of sight, but they cannot do it for the life of them.
Yeah, just like
and
the
it keeps
very
peeking.
obvious temperate forest in the background.
I'm fairly certain
It's
that
so
that
good.
wasn't even sand.
I
It just
also
looked like dirt
appreciated
to me.
Oh, go ahead. I think
Also possible.
I'm confident
Like,
that
it's-
it was sand. It just looked like really wet sand.
Yeah.
It looked
they
like
went to-
they were at a beach.
It was like they went to the beach after it rained, and they were like, "Well, shit, we got to do something. We can't not." So we're just gonna have to work with it.
We got 24 hours. Let's go.
Yeah, exactly. 24 hours in this wherever they found all of the sand, these sand hills, these dunes. Gotta make the best of it.
I did also make a comment of the thing that the Scorpion Man said when he received approval after juicing all those poor dudes. And he said, Operation M1. And I wrote down, M1, what the heck does that stand for? And I don't believe that's ever addressed.
Nope. They definitely, he says that they're going to execute Operation M1. And they never expand upon what that means. The only thing I can think of is
the plot of the episode.
Yeah, maybe.
I assume I thought there would be at least something that ties in with M or 1 for me to be like, yes, it clicked. Absolutely, this makes sense. But I'm just supposed to assume that these things correlate.
No.
Like the only thing I can think of is that we're going to get to the next episode. And that bad guy is going to be like, now we execute Operation M2. And it's like, okay, we're going to go through it, huh? All the way up until episode 98 of this show.
M98.
M98, die from Kamen Rider. I was going to say, I do appreciate kind of how the filming, there was very like kind of zombie horde-esque filming for the shots of the prisoners attempting to escape, and I don't know. I enjoyed the shots. I liked the feeling that they gave.
Yeah,
for all the shit we give it about like the setting very clearly not being what they were at. It was still good cinematography of just like the desperation and them trying to claw their way out of the area and failing.
I noticed that too.
We'll say the audio seemed like it was a little off sync, just on this episode.
That too.
Mm-hmm.
It was specifically, I noticed it the most whenever the old dude said something.
80 yard, the old dude.
Yeah, I wondered if they had dubbed over some of the footage or something.
Yeah, maybe. Sometimes you got an ADR and old man. That's just life.
Ito-san, can we get another line read? Never mind. Never mind. We'll just
I'm not unionized.
You've
only got me for 5 more minutes. Yeah, you're right. Never mind. Okay, so continuing to the next part of the synopsis. Takeshi Hongo is testing his abilities, understanding how his cyborg body works. Hearing what happened in the radio, Takeshi goes to the place where the slaves died, denying Ryukyo's company as it's too dangerous for her. Transforming into Kamen Rider, he fights against Shocker minions and get the old man to his house. That's not where they go. That's not where they go.
I think they skipped a little part.
They go to like a hospital. They like take the dude to a hospital, or at least unless that was just like his apartment complex.
No, they definitely take him to like a house. I will say that much because he's trying to be taken to a secret facility from a hospital.
Yeah,
I guess that's fair.
Intercepted from the clown car.
Yeah, the clown car.
Yeah, that synopsis
ambulance.
Feels like it skipped a few things.
It really
like
did.
The part where they try to kidnap him in an ambulance.
Or the cop that just like spilled. Well, I mean, I guess they briefly mention it. But yeah, they don't mention the cop who just like spills the beans about everything.
Yeah.
Or they don't mention how Kamen Rider has the mysterious power to show up in front of his opponent no matter what.
At all times.
I will say
it's like Jason.
It's a shot that shows up, I think, in the end credits as well. And it's one of my favorite shots. There are so many shots of the show of Kamen Rider just like standing somewhere. And like it has the same energy as if he was T-posing, but his arms aren't up that high. They're like just to his sides. But it's just like, what's up? I'm here now, motherfuckers. It's Kamen Rider time.
It's my turn to use the Xbox.
Yeah, exactly. It is so. Mom said it's my turn to use the Xbox energy, and I love it because they use that like every time he shows up on a mountain. He's doing that pose. He's just like, hello, it's me. It's Xbox time for the Kamen Rider.
There's no flair, but God, the absolute like big dick energy.
Yeah. And then I forgot this is also what gives us because he shows up in front of the clown car ambulance to stop Shocker, which includes the one Shocker member who is loving his job. Loving
so
his
happy
job.
and like just vibing.
Yeah, he's like,
vibing.
yeah, I got an acting gig. How about that?
Yeah.
You see me now, Mom? Who's a loser now?
Doing pretty good for myself. Old Kenji-kun is going
Yeah, old
places.
Kenji-kun's in Kamen Rider. Got my face
I'm
painted.
rooting for
I'm
you.
the fastest.
Kenji-kun,
Look,
no.
You gotta start somewhere.
Gotta start somewhere. Everybody
No.
does grunt work.
Kenji-kun.
This is also the episode where I specifically brought up that every Shocker minion of a specific boss has their own color coordinated like face paint. It's like red and something. So I know Spider-Man's was like red and green. I want to say the Batman's was also red and green, but it was like in a different pattern. And then the
There were lots of
Scorpion Man's were red
purples.
and blue. It's neat. It's just kind of a neat little way to differentiate who we're fighting against while still making them look the same.
Yeah, we still got our berets.
Yeah, we still got our berets, we still got our black jumpsuits, we still got our Shocker belts, but we also get, as mandated by the state, at least 5 pieces of flair that we are allowed to wear on our uniforms.
It's really good. I'd like to believe that maybe they just like as teams, once they're formed into their little squadrons, they have like a little board meeting to
Yeah.
decide what their noises and their colors are going to be, and it's just like a really fun time.
Oh,
and they
yeah,
order
that's right,
pizza.
'cause
Forget.
They have like squad specific noises too. Because I made that
Yeah.
joke about these their base being in the library, because these ones just shh all the time. What's interesting
That's what the sound of
is 'cause,
Scorpion makes.
I think the Batman ones were the ones that actually go a little bit, which ends up being like the default Shocker grunt. I don't know when this happens,
It's kind of the best one.
but at some point in time, the Shocker grunts go from being dudes in face paint to having like kind of wrestler masks on. And when
Yeah,
that
alright.
change happens, they go from just like making a specific sound based off of their boss to they all make this high pitched noise. And I think the first time that we encounter that in this show is Terrifying Batman. And that's interesting to think about. At least I'd have to watch the episode again, but I think that's where it comes up first.
Legit.
I wonder when they made that change and why. It's probably related to when they had to make the Shocker people not be Nazis anymore.
Maybe a little bit.
I
wanted to dial back
Go ahead.
real quick. Actually, we covered the part where they're saying like he is testing his abilities or whatever. He is hanging with his motorcycle friend this time.
Yeah, he's with
who is
Tachibana.
also now let in on the no, that's not Tachibana, is it?
Yeah, it's
Tachibana runs the cafe. I thought he was like a completely separate person
it's
doing the motorcycle
Tachibana.
stuff.
At the very beginning?
Yeah, the dude of the very first episode is Tachibana.
Why do you look so different? Anyways, never
the
mind
light
then.
of day.
But still,
He only looks
Even
good when
so,
he's in a
he-
suit with sunglasses off and squinting at you.
they're hanging. Yeah, honestly, they're hanging out in Random Canyon.
Yeah,
And he's getting some footage. He's making some tapes.
yeah.
Of his new abilities, getting the measurements of how high he can jump and how far he can jump and how he can kick a rock and it turns
And it
into a sliced rock.
explodes, yeah.
and explodes.
Kick a rock so hard it explodes.
Yeah. So and they conclude, I guess completely correctly because nobody opposes this, that he is wind powered.
Yep, he is a
and it
wind-powered
activates his
man.
dynamo energy.
Dynamo energy.
Dynamo. Yeah, apparently his belt is like a wind turbine, and so when he gets wind flowing into it, it spins the dynamo fan that is in it, and it gives him like superpower. Which,
And that's why he rides a motorcycle.
And that's why he rides them. I think that is actually legitimately the reason why he transforms on a motorcycle, is so he can
Yeah, he
get
will
that.
just do mid motorcycle ride transformations.
What's really interesting is that I think the motorcycle has the same body no matter what, like whether he's in uniform or not, but there is very clearly a scene where the motorcycle is supposed to be transforming.
Yeah, I noticed that.
Like there is very clearly a motorcycle transformation sequence, and it does not matter.
It's not reflected.
Not even remotely. I did want to say, because we were at the clown car ambulance scene. This also gives us the another example of one of this show's great editing techniques, which is when they need to show that someone is going really, really fast, they will usually just like either they will play his footage sped up, or they will play his footage slowed down and then cut a bunch. So that there's
they
like
just do a bunch of jump cuts.
Boy, the just the shot of Kamen Rider running at that car. I heard them. I heard the Hanna-Barbera bongos. I couldn't unhear them. Yeah.
Oh gosh, yes, I did want to bring up that scene of just at some point the clown car ambulance transferring the old man, like after Hongo decides to chase after them. At some point, we never see when, he ditches his bike and pursues them on foot.
And
because he outpaced them and is in front of them.
Yeah, he's just in front of them, like, what's up? You heard, Mom. It's my turn on the Xbox.
It's amazing. Inexplicably, he does get the bike later to transfer himself and Ito to safety.
Jumps to it or something.
I guess that's fair, but I don't quite understand the whole purpose of not having the bike in the first place.
It's never explained.
He needs room to fight.
Yeah, honestly, that's probably... They were already on a road. They were limited on space. They can't have the bike in the goddamn shot.
Because the set piece this time was him jumping on top of the clown car ambulance and kicking people.
Yes, and it was good. Quality shots we got out of that one.
Lots of use of the technique of putting the camera on the ground and jumping over it as well. Very classic.
Yes.
And we had like
highly utilized
or whatever. The one
Except
dude
for the one dude who definitely
did
not jump over the camera. he would have cleared it, but he was off center.
He was
what are you doing,
totally
Steve?
Off center. Steve, get it together, man. Come on. You want to hold down a job, right, my dude?
Poor Steve.
Which actually that brings up, it was used in some of the other episodes as well, but I don't think we mentioned it. Specifically, my favorite usage of it is in the very first episode, the second fight scene. But just and I assume that Super Sentai has patented this technology by now, as many times as they've used it. But the shot of there is a camera like on the ground and like the whole team is jumping over it. I love that shot. And they did one on the first episode that was so belabored because they needed like 6 dudes to jump over the camera. And so it took so long. But I unironically, from years of watching Power Ranger and Super Sentai, I love that shot. I love watching people just like front flip over a camera.
Just such a beautiful,
hooking into my
simple
veins.
Thing. I think it does its job perfectly.
It does. It really does. Because it looks like they're jumping farther, faster, higher.
It looks like they're jumping through the sky.
Yeah, it's great. It's wonderful. And you know what? When it ain't broke, you don't fix it.
Nope. Never. Not for 50 years.
Not for 50 years. For 40, I think it was more accurate. Because, gosh, I think... Yeah, this upcoming Sentai series that's about to happen is the 40th anniversary one. And I think this, either the Kamen Rider series that is currently playing or the one that is about to play, I think is also going to be the 40th anniversary series as well. So I think it is actually 40 years for both shows.
They should be approaching 50 because we're in the 2020s. And this is what, 1970?
This is 71.
71.
For
so
Kamen
yeah,
Rider,
we are at 50.
Oh yeah, huh. I'll have to double check. Maybe because I know Power Rangers or Super Sentai started after Kamen Rider. I don't remember by how far though. And that'll be something to look into for the future.
This.
But for now, let's continue with the plot synopsis. Apparently it's Takeshi's house. That's never explained.
Yeah, we take the man and we go back to Takeshi's house.
They never explain that it's Takeshi's house, though.
Yeah, whatever.
Anyway, someone enters
where he's
Takeshi's house,
reviewing the
and
tapes.
it's no one else than Goro Hayase, a rival and friend of Takeshi. As they didn't see each other for a while, they take time to talk. However, some of the man-eating scorpions and minions enter the house, making everyone in danger. I like that the synopsis doesn't mention that Rukia is also here.
Yeah, I was gonna say, who brings him in? It's
Yeah.
Rukia.
Yeah.
This is completely skipping over the scene at the beginning
Oh,
before
yeah.
Hayase even enters of Scorpion doing like shadow puppets on the scene on the
Oh
side
yeah,
outside of
my
the
man
apartment complex.
moving in on the building.
I think that's a little. Yeah, no.
He's just feeling himself through the building, just rub it all up on the
If
wall.
we ever got an
Yes.
actual shot of him going into that building, it would have straight up just been "Watch me swoosh right in."
It was legitimately like that. Yeah, they did it entirely with shadows. It was quite artsy.
It was really good.
Now that
yeah.
I'm thinking about it.
It was all just
Like-
shadows. It was a lot of fun.
but very silly shadows.
Very silly shadows, yeah. Because he's got one Gwippa and
It's a
one
Quippa and a Gwippa.
Fucking-
Wait, which one is which?
Well,
if I
the
may to
gripper is
ask.
the hand, the Gwippa is the claw.
Okay, thank
it's,
you.
It's his little Gwippa.
Whoa, Gwippa. It's a big Gwippa.
It is. It was an average sized Gwippa. I mean, I would have expected bigger for a Scorpion Man,
Yeah,
but
you're-
that's me personally.
I shouldn't flatter him. You're right.
I'm a size queen, I'll admit it. Oh, God.
What is this podcast? Anyway.
Anyway, some of the man-eating scorpions and minions enter the house, making everyone in danger, trying to kill the
Yes.
scorpion. Oh, we were talking about scenes it doesn't mention. It also doesn't mention the scene where Goro opens the door, and Takeshi Hongo is just like, "Oh, here I go, killing again." And he, like, jumps him, and then he's like, "Hey, old dude, turn on the light while I wrestle with this guy in the dark. I'm gonna put this guy in a bulldog choke, turn on the light." He just, like, goes
I wanna see
right
him.
after him.
I
wanna
want
see
to
the
see the
light
light.
escape
Yeah, I
from
want
his
to see the light
eyes.
escape from his eyes. He's gonna know. He's gonna learn. You know, fuck
And
with
it will be the
Takeshi
last thing
Hongo
he
in-
learns.
in his own house. I'll kill you. I don't even care. Yeah, it's what, like, no hesitation. Which, admittedly, also no hesitation by Goro Hayase, because he just opens the goddamn door.
Yeah.
This is my good friend Hongo's house.
Yeah, he won't attack me.
Oh, God, fuck!
You'd think after the first two times he would have learned. Because I assumed
No, this is
Takeshi
just their
Hongo was just
dynamic.
like that. And then the cyborg bugman powers just made him be like, cool, now I get to get away with it too. You'll never catch me alive, coppers, not when I can jump 40 meters.
Shit, he's right.
And I've got a motorcycle. Anyway, trying to kill the scorpions. Wait, boy, we sure did skip a bunch, huh? Trying to kill the scorpions, the old man gets sprayed with their acids, causing his death. Rurikyo, she's suddenly here now, gets caught by shocker minions, so Takeshi and Goro chases them. This is where we get my favorite shocker minion. When questioning the minions, Goro reveals himself as the Scorpion Man as he joins Shocker on his own will. It was right there on his will and
Yeah.
testament.
Yeah, it was yeah.
He was like, if I die, I'm
Yes.
going to join Shocker. Sell my organs to Shocker for science.
This what's it called? The synopsis is skipping over like a little bit, and
It's
that
it is specifically
yeah.
So-
skipping over the best fight
I
scene
love
where they
it.
drop the camera and they have to just work with it.
yes.
Yes.
But before that, Hongo and Goro go out there. They're buddy. They're gonna tag team action this, and of course they split up.
Yeah.
Because as we covered in the synopsis very casually, Goro is actually the Scorpion
Yes,
Man
Goro's the
all along,
Scorpion
and
Man.
we all knew he was going to be because he got introduced in the last third of the episode
I will say, I was still
out of
holding,
nowhere.
initially I was still holding out for it to be Tachibana, because I actually ended up spoiling myself on Goro being the Scorpion Man, because I looked him up because I thought Goro Hayase was the person who ends up being Kamen Rider version 2. Because there ends up being, just kind of spoilers for the season, I apologize, but there ends up being another Kamen Rider who joins up with Takeshi Hongo, and he's called Kamen Rider V2. And I was like, Goro Hayase, isn't that V2? And so I would have been really surprised if he was introduced this early into the show, but he wasn't.
No, he's a
Because
scorpion.
Goro Hayase is the scorpion dude.
To be fair, I don't think we technically got confirmation that the scorpion is
That's
Goro. We had got confirmation that the scorpion was disguised as Goro.
Yeah, I guess that's
I
fair.
wonder,
Maybe
yeah.
Goro Hayase is still alive, like somewhere out
Maybe he's
there.
out there.
And he's gonna show up,
But,
and then Takeshi's gonna almost murder him again.
Again, you fucker! I know it's you.
I know it's you, Scorpion Man. I killed you once, I'll kill you again. Come catch these Rider Scissors. I'm gonna Steiner you on the rock so hard.
In the hallway,
the
after
hallway
they split
fight.
up, Hongo has a brief run-in with the
Shocker
yeah.
minions.
girl. No, with the girl group of death is what I
yeah.
called them.
Yes,
I
yes.
love
The-
it.
The the quartet of
quartet
lovely
of femme
ladies
fatales.
in fishnets and very different haircuts. They're all
See,
very cool, and honestly, they should
just
form
give
a
up
girl group. Is
fascism
what I
and start
think, and sing
singing
doo-wop
pop.
songs.
Hell yeah.
Yes.
At the very
You know,
least.
they don't even really
At
have
the
to do
very
that
least.
second part. They really should just do that first part. That's the important one. Yeah, they definitely. Please give up fascism, ladies.
Please.
Why the sexy girls gotta be fascist? Stop it.
Well, I mean, if
Anyways,
movies
they
have
tried
taught
to
me
shoot him with
anything-
Freddy Krueger fingers or
Yo,
something.
yes,
I
that's
don't
right.
remember.
Oh yeah. They've got like finger-mounted blade launchers, and so they're fucking trying to kill him with the boy if you don't. Just shooting the hand at him.
And then they're never seen again as we go to the
Yeah, and then
hallway.
they disappear. And Takeshi
Just
Hongo
like
has
every
to
fight.
a bunch of dudes in the hallway, and someone drops the goddamn camera. Like it's
I super.
that has to be the way they got that technique done. That it has to be that whoever was filming fumbled the camera, and they were like, fuck it, we were gonna go upside down in a bit anyway. Just go.
Yeah, an entire sequence of uncut fighting.
Uncut fighting.
Just upside down. Just completely upside down.
Like,
And then they
imagine
flip it back
shooting,
over when they're
like,
done.
Schedule. It's just like, oh hell, we're behind schedule. What do we do? We can't pick up the camera. We just dropped it. Oh god.
We cannot do
It's
this
fine,
many
it's
takes.
artistic.
Fuck, just keep going. Just keep filming. Just keep filming.
Just keep it rolling.
He's on a roll. Hongo's on a roll. Just let him go.
Smooth it out.
It's
It's fine.
8:52. If we
It's
do the
just-
shot over, we gotta pay everyone
Just pick
else
it up
for
at the
another
end. It'll
hour.
look like it was intentional. Don't worry about it.
We can't
Yeah.
afford it, man. Yeah, as
Touching-
many shots in this show as can be legitimately applauded, like as many shots in this show as are like there's really good framing and really good cinematography. Then there are also shots like I dropped the goddamn camera, we're doing this fight upside down now.
Really though.
And I love them both equally is the thing. They're both my
Yeah,
children. I love them with all of my heart.
They have such charm points either way.
They really do. So we get the return of my favorite prop in this episode, which are the toy
Shoot a little
scorpions that
paint.
shoot the pink mist. They're like, it's like those like
Right?
wind up toys that wouldn't like actually move. They would just kind of like jiggle. Yeah, exactly. It's
Yeah.
like that's how they made those scorpions, and they like taped light up eyes onto them, and then gave them a funnel at the tail that could shoot pink goo. And our friend,
Just
the
delightful.
old man, decides he's going to go ahead and try to stomp these scorpions to death, even though that means he's going to get in goo range. Which, like, why would you do that? But
Yeah,
Rest in peace, old
only
man.
Kamen Riders are allowed to stomp that.
yeah, exactly. Only Kamen Riders can stomp a scorpion that eats men, because Kamen Riders are cyborgs. It all comes full circle.
Yeah.
So then we
Natural
get
predator.
we get Goro and Kamen and Takeshi chasing after the what is it, the clown car ambulance again, or is it just another car, just like a regular car that they have Rukio
Yeah,
in?
I just don't know.
I don't remember because I was mainly
I
focusing
think they
on
just took her in a regular car.
I was mainly focusing on the shot of the two of them in their respective outfits riding motorcycles next to each other was honestly really cool. And then we cut to the
so good.
inside of that car, and that one shocker soldier who looks like he's been high for 4 years That dude was
He's just
he was
so
off his
happy.
tits. He was vibing.
Yeah.
He was just like, yeah, man, I'm a fascist.
Don't.
Cool, dude.
Whatever.
I want to say good for you, but
Yeah, it's not good that
No.
you're a
Congratulations
fascist,
on
but I guess it's good that you're having a good
having
time.
a steady enough job that you are able to be under the influence for 4 years straight, I guess.
Yeah, I was gonna say, congratulations on having a steady enough job that you can get weed in Japan. Because they're, oh boy, they are not fans
It's
of that
tough.
shit. They do not let it fly if you smoke weed in Japan and you get caught. And then we got a real rough scene. Because as the plot synopsis mentions, we go to the Shocker hideout, and Goro Hayase reveals himself to be the Scorpion Man, and he does that by taking his own face off. And damn, that effect!
I've just written it down to say face off.
Yep,
Because-
face off.
Whoa! Holy crap,
Yeah,
man!
holy! And it's so wet when he's about to do it too. It's all shiny. Oh,
goofy.
Yeah.
it's rough.
It was
It was
so
hard,
good.
which
It
is
was
I love
good,
it.
frankly.
I love it. Honestly,
I mean, like
was-
it was really good in the way that something really bad can be really good, if that makes sense.
it was just so gelatinous.
So
I love it.
good.
You could see the jiggles on
Oh
that
my
thing.
god, the lights reflected off. He was so shiny. Ugh. Ooh.
No,
Rough.
there's
Anyway.
yeah, because
Running away
during
from
that
that
scene,
scene,
like
is
he
oh,
takes
wait,
off his
go for it, you got
jelly
something?
face, and then under it you can just see like his mandibles, and you're like, how is this?
Yeah, how did
How
those
did you
not
hide
protrude?
those?
Yeah, it was
It's
like
so good.
Batman.
His
weird,
amazing
like,
cheekbones.
his weird cheek fangs. You guys saw that, right? Like the Batman's fangs were like 2 or 3 inches
You know,
away from his actual mouth.
Going back a bit,
Yeah, they
were more
retract.
like those oni tusks.
They really
that-
were.
a little bit.
Maybe that's like the mask that they started with,
all the
because they were
all
like,
of
"Fuck
that
it, it's got tusks. We'll
zombies
turn it
in
into the thing
episode
we need."
2 looked like the dental paper that you just have like sticking out of your mouth after like a cavity filling. It was just like that. That was all their teeth.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was like watching a bunch of kids take
Yes.
like pepper or like candy canes that they had whittled down and then stuck in their side of their teeth or side of their mouths.
like,
and
it
be
always they always
"I'm
look
a
so loose. I'm
monster."
just like, they're gonna fall.
They probably were really loose.
They were probably just stuck in like between their teeth and their bottom lips. Honestly,
Almost assuredly. $500. Anyway, so we move on to the end of the final episode. Transforming into Kamen Rider, Takeshi fights against Scorpion Man and Shocker minions as they rapidly hide underground. Kamen Rider... Oh, this is a really good sentence in the plot synopsis. Kamen Rider just have to crush them by landing on the ground, falling from high
Yeah.
rocks.
Yeah.
That's
just what you have to
Yeah,
do.
it's just what you have to
Yeah.
do. Takeshi finishes Scorpion Man with the Rider Scissors, making him fall on a rock, killing him. Now Takeshi goes back home with Rukia.
Fucking way that's right.
The way that's
He fell on a
phrased-
rock
yeah,
and
he
kill
falls
him.
on a rock and he dies.
It's true.
This is
Yeah, I
You're
can't
not
really
wrong.
argue
yeah,
here.
we're not wrong at all. This is, I think,
Oh
this
my
is
God.
one of the fights that did a lot for Shakes and I, because
Oh my
well,
god.
one,
Mhm.
I got a lot of use of the hill technology. Like I said, we got that
Reverse
great scene
rolling.
of them rolling down. We had 2 different scenes of them rolling down the hill. There was the one that was played backwards to make it look like
I
they were
love it
rolling
so
up the hill,
much.
and then the one
Like
where they
Sonic
just,
the fucking Hedgehog.
yeah, exactly. And then there was the one where they actually legitimately just have to roll down the hill again, because fighting
Pretty sure it was
Kamen
the
Rider
same
is like
shot.
fighting Daisy Bunsen.
Tales of
Just
Harbor.
a goddamn rabbit jumping all over the place.
Watch Tales of Harbor.
Yeah, watch Tales of Harbor. folks.
So this fight kicks off. I forget why they do it. they mash a big button to activate something.
Oh,
yeah.
It's the pit. They're gonna put him in the pit with the man-eating scorpions. That's why
right.
they mashed the
they
big
were
button.
they were
Yeah,
activating the
spray paint
scorpion
button.
pit. And yes, and this giant ass buttons that are clearly made of spray can lids, big ol' caps.
Big old cap.
It just tickles me so
How
much.
can it
It's
not?
straight up the Mystery Science Theater commercial button.
It's so good.
Like, and then but they cleverly avoid this by jumping through the ceiling again. That's made of bubble wrap.
Bubble wrap. Yes,
You can
this
see
is the
the
one
bubbles.
that's just like straight up, definitely bubble wrap. And
It's
oh
so
my
clear.
God, it's so funny. Yes.
And then they begin their fight scene.
Yeah, we get a
very
nice little
underground
Sonic sequence
technique.
where Scorpion Man and his synchronized dancers spin around
it-
or tumble
Yes!
around Kamen Rider.
They must
I
confuse
forgot
him.
that it just hard cuts
Rolling around at the
like
speed
the
of
directions.
Yep. Oh yeah.
Yes,
Yeah,
it just hard cuts and they
it's-
go the other way.
They roll one day and then
It's
hard
so
cut
good.
roll one way and then hard cut they're rolling the other way. It's so good. But the other thing I was going to say was this is a fight that does a lot for Shakes and I because this is the one that uses the most wrestling moves.
Yes.
I think he back body drops like one or two. Well, there's the one guy he tries to hit the back suplex on, but he counters it and lands on his feet.
Yeah,
which
they
was-
love doing that.
They
move.
love doing that one. They love that one.
Like either Kamen Rider or a minion is going to do that because they don't want to actually back body drop anybody.
Yeah, it was,
So they just do half of
they
it.
just do half of it. He freaking reverse Frankensteinered one dude. I remember that, and that was awesome. It was just
Yes.
it was like watching a backyard wrestling match up in there.
It really was. It's insane.
It was so, and then of course, so that brings us to first I really want to get to probably one of my favorite parts of this fight, which
Hey,
is
Gooba
when
stops.
the Shocker minions hide in the sand, by which I mean footage of them coming out of the sand is played backwards.
Yeah.
And then Kamen Rider's like, I know how to deal with this. And he stands up on like a tall rock and he just jumps on these dudes' backs so hard they die.
How many were there?
I mean,
He
like,
Goomba stomps
three?
them all
Fucking
without consequence.
He Goomba stomps like 3 or 4 of them, and then
Three. There was 3.
No, I think there was
Yeah.
6 because there was.
No, it was.
There's 3 he stomps
No, there was
on,
3.
and then there's
I counted
3 that
3.
just like die somehow.
I think that was the guys. I think that was just their corpses.
Oh, okay, that makes more
Because
sense in hindsight.
he does this 3 times, and then when he's done, we just sort of look, and there's just a beret
Yep.
and blood pooling out from under the beret
yep,
from underground.
Yep. Okay, yeah. See that I was a little confused. I was like, did he
just
murder
leaves
3 of
3
these
red
dudes, and the other ones
stains.
were like, cool, we're just gonna commit suicide?
They just become 3 red stains.
They just become goo, which means it's just Kamen Rider and the Scorpion Man now. And Kamen Rider says, how am I going to deal with the Scorpion Man? Well, that's real easy. Come catch this Rider Scissors. And
Just get this Hurricane Rana.
in midair, right, they both jump at each other. And Kamen Rider is like, hey, but catch this Rana, though. And he Hurricane Ranas him head first onto a rock. And then he just dies. And it's like...
He really does.
It's one of those things where I've watched enough of these shows that it would make more sense if there was like a ridiculous explosion or something
Right?
when his head hit the rock.
No.
But his head hits the rock and he rolls off of it and then he dissolves into blood.
I'd like to remind everyone that this is a
just
kid's show.
fizzles out of existence. And then we're like, I was just... Yeah, 1, this is a kid's show, but 2, I'm like, geez, you guys couldn't afford 1 explosion for this dude that you Rana to head first onto
We
a
wasted
rock?
it on the rock in the beginning of the episode.
Yep, yeah, that was their explosion budget. Even though that footage looks like it was
It
taken
was like
from
a
another
firecracker. Yeah, no, it was a firecracker on a
show,
model.
for sure. Looks like they stole it off of a Godzilla movie or something. It's
I know, guy.
it's so bad. It's so good.
But yes, this brings up
That's-
Kamen Rider's kill count to 11 in the first 3 episodes.
11 kills in the first 3 episodes. It's
was
All of which are
unconscionable.
gruesome.
He's
Yeah, they're gruesome deaths.
Yeah,
all
they're
told.
rough. Yeah, he probably like just annihilates those dudes' spines, the ones that he jumps on in this episode. Because he's basically like doing he's doing like a proto version of the superhero landing on them.
I feel like the least gruesome one was with Miho.
Whole shit.
And even that, it's just like...
Yeah, she just gets
She just went down
in the stomach and she goes down.
It was all internal.
Beauty and grace.
She got to die beautifully.
All of her bleeding was internal, which is where the blood is supposed to be. So she's looking all
Yeah.
right.
So it's fine.
And that I mean, there you go. That was the first 3 episodes of Kamen Rider, the very first season. It's weird because I want to say another thing, but it's just called Kamen Rider.
Yeah.
The story of
It's right there on the
Takeshi Hongo and his quest to murder fascists in the most brutal ways possible.
God. I guess I want to bring up, I guess my thoughts of the future,
Okay.
and I guess what I'm worried about.
Oh, you know what? We're gonna have to put it at the end of the episode,
yeah.
huh? Because I forgot to do the reflections.
Oh well, okay, yeah, we'll do reflections, and then I guess I just have one thing to say about a trend.
Okay, yeah. Well, and you can tell that this is the first episode of our podcast because I forgot to do this at the beginning. But we were going to talk about, usually we would use this time to talk about our reflections from the previous episodes that we watched. But since this is our first time watching, we were going to go ahead and do our impressions. So I think this is going to be even interesting speaking about it after the fact now. Before you had actually watched a single episode of the show, what did you really think you
See, I thought it was going to be like Sailor Moon levels of like silly but with like Sailor Moon, but with fascists and cool robots. It was not. I was not expecting 11 people to get eviscerated.
It's.
I was not expecting.
Yeah, it's 1971. We don't have robot money.
I was not expecting people to be
watch
like
crawling up
murder
hills
fascists.
or crab walking. Like, I don't know what I was expecting, but not this. And I'm honestly grateful that it's whatever
that
this
is entirely fair.
As someone who very coincidentally has actually been watching Sailor Moon recently.
Oh wow.
I think I just have a misconception of how violent things used to be in the past, because Sailor Moon, perhaps most people have experience with the heavily censored localized versions.
Probably.
I'm watching the original. It is surprisingly violent.
Yeah.
It's
People do get stabbed with blood. People do get literally like blown up into ashes.
I actually kind of forgot
and
about all
die
that
on a very, very regular basis.
It's wild. Watching OG Sailor Moon or like watching OG Dragon Ball or Dragon Ball Z, it's a lot like going back and watching Yu-Gi-Oh! Season 0. Because you're just like, oh, whoa, this is wild. Whoa, they're just like killing people in these streets, huh? Whoa.
Yeah.
Children's media is so different these days,
So
and
different.
I think I definitely have to agree with Gopher, though I didn't expect this. I expected over the top cartoonish like fantasy violence. Like I thought he'd be like stomping people and kicking people and there'd be explosions, but they would just be like and fly off to the side, and that would be the end of it. Not like I Goomba stomp this guy's spine 5 feet into the ground and he erupts in a pool of blood.
Yeah, I definitely have to echo y'all's sentiment for a bit. Because I've got experience with some of these older seasons, but it's a lot of the like stuff that was being aired and being made in like the 80s and the 90s when they had already made their money. So that is a lot of like the cheesy explosions and the people dramatically flinging themselves off of cliffs. And so I think I was definitely expecting something a little more akin to that. And I will say this. I had seen the first episode already, so I kind of had an idea of what to expect there. I was not expecting the straight up murders
in one were
in
fine?
episode 2 and 3. Actually, like I
Yeah.
didn't mention this when I pulled them up, but the Wikipedia or the Wikia articles for episodes 2 and 3 that I pulled the plot synopses off of have at the very top of the page, alert, warning, this episode contains scenes of blood and graphic violence. Viewer discretion is advised. Hey guys, this is a kids show.
Well, they don't make them like they used to.
Yeah. Toughen
Yeah.
those kids
Yeah,
up.
this is a man's show now.
The transhumanism episode
Yes,
1
yeah.
also threw me for a loop.
Was
Having multiple accounts of this, like, I'm with everybody else. I've just sort of like I've seen a little bit of, tokusatsu and Sentai stuff, so I pretty much pictured that, but with a motorcycle maybe, and like, only one person. Yeah. the being forged into a killing machine and returning the favor to your creators by killing them was not the route I expected Kamen Rider to take as its core concept.
Yeah, because
It's
again,
amazing.
Season 1, Episode 1. What's the show about? Well, a bunch of Nazis turn a dude into a cyborg, and he's like, cool, now my job is to kill Nazis.
But I'm also not feeling great about it because now I'm a killer machine
I didn't want
cyborg
to be
who
a
cannot
cyborg in
relate
the
to
first
humans
place.
I think
anymore.
Wolfenstein
I didn't
2
want
is
this.
just Kamen
I just
Rider.
wanted to ride
I
motorcycle.
really... Yeah, Wolfenstein 2 is
Kinda.
just Kamen Rider.
I'm a cyborg freak, and I'm not normal.
You got 25% chance at best. Beat him. And then you add Kamen Rider V2 to the mix. Your chances with drastic go down.
Drastic goes down.
I really want a Kamen Rider dub of that whole speech.
I will make one. I will
Oh.
make one because there are 2 different Kamen Rider seasons in the Heisei era that are pretty much just about Kamen Riders fighting other Kamen Riders. I could make one so easy.
Wow.
I will absolutely do this
That
for
would be
you.
amazing.
Going on with other funny thoughts about Kamen Rider that we've had, it just occurred to me that it would be very fitting, and I would love to see just a picture of a Takeshi Hongo with a tattoo on his back that says, "This machine kills fascists." Because that's just what he is now. He is a fascist-killing
That's
machine.
just what he is.
Literally.
I love it. I think that was like one of my opening statements of this whole episode. That I just love that this man is vicious. He goes full tilt right
yeah.
off the bat. He is parched for your blood.
Specifically, yeah. And boy, is he about to take a long sip. He's about to slurp you up like a Capri Sun, boy. Get over here. It's like, yeah, I didn't, because the fight scenes in the first episode they're a little more explained out. So I really was not expecting him to just be like, did I hear someone spell shocker? It's go time. Who am I murdering? I'll kill everyone in this room.
I'm going to choke you to
Yeah,
death.
you're about to get choked out.
Oh, it's my friend? Okay, I guess I'll let you slide.
I'll let it
But I'm
slide
still
for
gonna
a
keep
bit,
choking.
but
Like, he like was choking him while looking at
he
him.
really was.
Like, he was like, oh my god, it's Goro, and he's still got his hands around his throat. It's like, dude, let
was
go!
Like, whoa,
It was
Goro,
just
buddy,
like
my
that.
friend. Like,
It
dude,
was
I'm
a
tapping
friendly
out. I'm tapping
hormone
out.
strangulation.
He's like, are you? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Don't
that's
worry
their dynamic. Goro knows that. Like, this is just what being with Hongo is like. He's just kind
that's-
of wild. Like, becoming a cyborg had nothing to do with it. He's just like this.
Yeah, I think that's the most wild part, is that it really does seem like Takeshi was kind of just like that as a dude, and then someone made him a cyborg, and he was like, well, now I get to do it to other people, too. Here I go. Like,
Finally, he's like light picking up the death note outside of his school.
pretty
Honestly.
It's
much.
my time, baby.
Oh boy, here I go, murdering again. Takeshi Hongo.
I will establish a
Just
new world
love killing.
order.
Yeah. If there's one thing I love to wake up in the morning and do, it's murder fascists, apparently. Which, like, cool, good for you, man. Kind of wish a lot
thanks.
more people had that energy in 2021.
To be honest.
We need a new Kamen Rider.
We really do. Apparently, yeah. We need to reboot OG Kamen Rider.
I need to buy a motorcycle and become Kamen Rider.
Yeah.
I guess I want to take this moment now to address my thoughts of the future, or at least one particular concern.
Hit me with it.
I noticed a very distinct pattern while thinking about the first 3 episodes.
Okay.
And I suppose this is not a new concept to be annoyed at, but what's her name?
Ruriko?
Is it Ruriko?
Yeah, Ruriko.
Is that?
It's
I feel like I've never said her name correctly
Let
consistently.
me find the spelling and then I will spell it for you. Ruriko.
Yeah, Ruriko.
Yeah, Ruriko.
Okay. The Ruriko problem, I guess, is what I'm going to start this as.
No. Yep,
because
Yeah.
So here's the thing. Well, so Ruriko's role in these first 3 episodes is consistent. While motivated differently throughout the first 3 episodes, it is a consistent role in the story. And she is a patsy.
Yep.
She's not a damsel in distress per se, but she is absolutely a patsy for every villain so far to get one up on Kamen Rider somehow.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. I think it's because there's...
She starts by, just being revealing the scientist's location.
Mm-hmm.
She goes next by succumbing to her thoughts of revenge and leading the Batman to her.
Again, like he's tied up in a room with face paint on and is like, I know you're...
This is legit.
Also, she doesn't recognize this dude, and then he's like, I know your dad, and I have proof that this guy that you don't know killed him. And she's just like, yeah. Okay. Like,
and then 3rd episode, she brings Goro to the apartment completely unannounced. Goro knows where Hongo is because of her.
Specifically brings Goro to the apartment after she's like, I want to come help you on this mission, and Takeshi's like, no, it's too dangerous, I'm going by myself.
I'm gonna bring this random guy.
Shows up unannounced anyway and is like, here, I brought your best friend. Who doesn't know anything about the situation at all.
Not necessarily her fault either, but it's just such a strange thing so far that she has so consistently just been the source of the enemies getting any semblance of an upper hand.
Yeah, and unfortunately that is probably
and
going to be
I am now going to be
consistent.
completely on the watch for it every time Ruriko shows up, because I feel like they're just gonna dupe her every single time into getting close to Kamen Rider.
Yeah, I think that's going to be her role in the show for a while.
Oh man,
it's
I imagine it's.
Oh, go ahead, B.
I imagine it's just a natural consequence of so incredibly hard-headedly establishing from episode 1, literally an introduction, that Takeshi Hongo is the most perfect being that ever existed, and has only increased his perfection.
Yeah, this is true.
He is impervious. He is super intelligent. He is incredibly athletic and powerful and destroys his enemies at the first opportunity.
Right, rides a bike
so
like it's
there's
nobody's business.
Yeah, no one would get anywhere around him unless someone was just giving the enemies opportunities. And I agree it would suck if that's Doriko's entire existence, but I guess for the convenience of not making new characters to constantly do it, I just can't help but wonder if it's just what else are they gonna do? They kind of put themselves in the corner by making such a flawless person.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah.
She's
Also,
basically the
natural
little kid
consequence of
character,
Monster
but
of the
she's a
Week.
grown-ass woman.
Mhm. Yep.
Also that.
You got one episode to establish and then resolve a problem. You gotta kind of figure out a way to deal with it pretty quickly. And having a character that you can just say here, you stand here and then fuck this up. All right, cool. We got issues now. Hey, you're behind now, protagonist.
But I want to help.
Really should have thought
she's
about
the
that before
Kyrie
you
of
were written into a
Kamen
Monster of the Week
Rider.
show.
Oh man.
Especially as a female.
Oh man.
Yep.
Aw.
She super is.
I didn't want to say it
Jeez.
outright, but also no, Kyrie never brought this shit on Sora. She just sort of
4
mostly didn't do
times.
anything.
That's fair. She got
Ruriko's an
kidnapped like 3 times.
Is Velma the one from Scooby-Doo? No, Daphne's the one from Scooby-Doo who gets kidnapped all the time. She's the Daphne. Like every episode, someone's going to kidnap Daphne. We're going to have to get a fucking
my
rescue
distinction
her ass.
here... My distinction here is that not only Rika is also she fills a damsel role pretty consistently so far too, but it's the active like participation in the enemy's plans in some fashion by being duped.
Yeah,
is the very specific role that I keep zeroing in on, and it's kind of wild.
Yeah,
I on one hand I will be disappointed if this goes for 98 episodes consistently. On the other hand, I will also be impressed.
Yeah, that's fair. If they can pull this shtick off for 98 straight episodes, I'll give them an award. They'll earn like a cookie or something.
Like episode 50,
It'll
if
loop
it's still
back
going,
around to
it's
being
just going to
very
be
funny.
amazing.
Yeah, it's going to be very impressive.
Gosh.
Well, I believe that brings us to the end of our podcast.
Yeah.
I think we were all. I think we took a bit longer than we initially anticipated, but
Maybe a little.
I think it's because we had a lot to say about these episodes. I think maybe even a lot more to say than we initially anticipated, and that legitimately makes me really happy.
In future episodes, it'll be a little shorter because we spent an hour on the first episode.
Yes, we did. We did spend an hour
not just
on episode
unpacking
1
it, but
alone
also just
because
being like over the
there was
general
a lot
vibe
to
of the
unpack.
show, and potentially with that,
yeah. You're strangers in a strange land.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of general concepts we had to familiarize ourselves with that I'm sure won't come up every time.
Yeah, and also we had to establish the theme of, oh hey, Kamen Rider has killed, will kill, does kill.
He doesn't.
Wakes up in the morning, kills a dude.
He doesn't use coffee, or he
We're
doesn't
keeping
use
track
sugar
now.
in his coffee. He
We've got the kill
blood.
counter set up.
Bing.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
That's why he
uses
kills so
fastest
many
blood in
people.
his coffee.
Has to be fresh.
Has to be fresh.
That's about good.
Otherwise, it would make his coffee come.
Go for it. Don't be silly. Fascists aren't people.
This is true. That's why they don't say anything, except for when they're fused with
they
an
just
animal.
make noises.
Imagine
So yes,
if this
our
is
very
shortest.
special, extra long introductory episode where we had to unpack the world of Kamen Rider, and now that we've got ourselves a little apartment here, I'm really looking forward to the next episode. I'm very happy that we did have so much to say about these first episodes, and I look forward to everything that we have to say about these next episodes. So, thank you very much for joining us. If you did join us, thank you very much for sticking around.
Yeah, I don't know
If you joined
how.
us for,
I don't know
obviously,
how long
however
this
long this episode ends up
will
being,
be when
because
it's
it
all
hasn't
said
been
and
edited
done,
yet.
but you deserve a medal if you're still here. Especially if you just.
Yeah, if you're still here, thank you very much.
Especially if you hadn't even watched
hit me
the
up
episodes
We
before,
love
and
on
you're
you.
just
Twitter. I'll get you a
listening.
cookie.
Yeah.
Boy,
Especially if you didn't watch the episodes. If you stuck around this long, like, seriously, hit
We
me up
triple
on
love
Twitter.
you.
I'll get you like a pizza or something.
Or any other.
You earned it, man. Or woman, I suppose. Yeah, or any other. Look, if you hung around with us that long, that means that hopefully you are as excited about this as we are to be doing it, which means you will be as excited as we are for when the next episode comes out. Obviously, keep an eye on the long time watcher, first time writer podcast Twitter,
yeah.
which I can't remember the @ for off the top of
First
my head.
Ride Pod.
Thank you. @ First Ride Pod on Twitter for all of our announcements. Longtime watcher, first time rider podcast channel on YouTube for our various uploads. Hopefully by the time this episode comes out, the VOD of our announcement
absolutely.
stream and interview will be uploaded to that channel, so you can check that out if you want to. I believe it is also Longtime Watcher, First Time Writer podcast on SoundCloud. That's the other one where we are uploading this to. SoundCloud as well. You can follow us there if you want to check out the podcast. for those of you who are going to eventually ask and wonder, what about Spotify? What about iTunes? That will be coming eventually. We're going to work on it. We got to get an RSS feed set up. And so right now, initial distribution is going to be most important. But those are the socials and the uploading platforms for the time being. So check those out if you would like to keep up with the podcast. If you want to keep up with us, you can follow me on Twitter at KingFats95. You can follow me on Twitch at KingFats95. I'm not streaming a ton right now, but I am hoping to fix that in the future. Shakes, where can they find you?
You can find me on Twitter at ThatGalInTheHat. And you can also catch me doing those streams at least 3 times a week on twitch.tv/ACTN Shakespeare.
B, if they want to hunt you down, where do they find you?
Come at me. You better be prepared to kill me. Just kidding.
You better be,
You can find
Takeshi
me.
Hongo if you want to get at
That
me.
invitation's
You
only
better
up to
be
their
ready
clones.
to kill
Oh,
at the first
and-
jump, because they are.
Yeah, it's on site. But to answer your question, you can find me on twitter.com at bdropsart, and you can find me on twitch.tv/bdrops.
You can find
And
me at
Gopher, if they want to hunt you down,
at
where
Whale
can
Gopher at
they
Twitter,
find you?
and the Magical Whale Gopher on Twitch. And you can also do me a big favor by heading over to www.twitch/bdrop/subscribe, and also www.actionshakespeare.twitch.tv/subscribe, or click the buttons. Get
Or
a tier
just click
3
the
if you
buttons.
can.
Hang out with us. Subscribe to all
Aw.
the streams. Join B and Shakes' Patreons. Join B's Discord. Watch Tales of Harbor whenever it
Oh,
comes
yeah, I do have
out.
a Patreon. Huh?
We got all sorts of stuff that we can plug. Follow us, and you can find all of the stuff that we plug, and then you can enjoy it, and you can have a great time with us.
Yeah, we'll do our best to link
I don't
everything
think
we
there's a-
can in available spaces
description
to-
Yeah.
for
on
your
YouTube.
convenience.
So
I know there's a lot.
Yeah, I don't think there is one either. I know for ease of use, I've currently made our pinned tweet on the podcast Twitter. It's just a tweet that has all of our @s, so you can just go find that tweet, find all of us, follow us on Twitter, follow all of the related stuff therein, have a good time.
Yeah.
If you are interested in watching the next episodes to prepare
Yes.
for the next episode of our
Oh my
podcast,
gosh.
please check
Thank
out
you very much,
episodes
B.
4 through 6 of the original Kamen Rider, titled The Man-Eating Saracen. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. I have
I'm
no
gonna
clue what
assume
that
you're
is.
I think
The
it's plant.
Monstrous Mantis Man.
I
And
don't know what that is.
finally, The Deadly Chameleon. So we're still
Whoa.
on quite a trend
Oh,
here.
interesting. You
It's the green team.
you have a different
The green
you've got a
team.
different translation name than mine does, because I was actually going to say this is a slight reason why I'm disappointed we're only doing 3 episode
Oh.
batches, because mine are translated as man-eating Saracen, monster mantis man, and then it's Grim Reaper chameleon, and then the next episode is duel with Grim Reaper.
Oh, yes.
Oh.
That's super fair. The Japanese episode reading for what Wikipedia labels as the Deadly Chameleon is Shinigami Chameleon. So
that would just
yeah.
be Grim Reaper chameleon.
More or less, yeah.
If you do want to watch the show along with us, you can find all of it for free
Correct.
on Shout Factory. If I recall correctly, that is free. We may put up a link somewhere on the Twitter or the YouTube or the SoundCloud, or just somewhere where you can go check that out. Or, of course, if you have or are willing to get a subscription to the streaming service Verve, you can find it on there as well, along with a lot of other tokusatsu shows like Kamen Rider Kuga, which I mentioned earlier in the episode, and a lot of Super Sentai, actually. Like, they have so many Sentai series, it's a little ridiculous.
Sponsor us.
Yeah, sponsor us, Verve, and give us some money. so we can talk. And Shout Factory
We'll
too.
tell
Give us
everyone to
give us
use
some money.
the
And we'll
code,
tell everybody how great your products are.
First Ride
'Cause
Pod 20 for 20% off of your favorite.
Yeah.
No, it's not.
20% off at checkout.
It's not a code yet.
Oh no, that's a lot of pressure.
We'll make it the code.
One day.
Maybe one day.
Gopher said it, so it has to come
Yeah,
true.
we're putting the energy in the universe.
Will it into existence?
Will it into existence. And friends who have joined us for the podcast will beating your fascists in your life into existence. We believe in you, and we know you can succeed. And as the good book always tells us, if you can't believe in God, and if you can't believe in Buddha, you can always believe in Kamen Rider. Thank you very much, and y'all have a wonderful night.